Chapter 2772. The milky white water droplets were probably what the carpenter uncle wanted. Ning Shu's heart ached when he thought about it. How much would the water droplets she made be worth? How much would that be? She was just throwing money around. He couldn't suck it in. Ning Shu clutched his aching heart and went out of the world. Oh my God, I can't think about it, I can't think about it. Ning Shu took the Peerless Martial Art book and inspected it back and forth. There was not a single crack on the Peerless Martial Art book. Why did the world shrink? Now the book couldn't be flipped open. There were no more pages. Her world wasn't like the silver-haired man's. The silver-haired man's book was so cool. The pages were all attacking weapons. Ning Shu thought that his book could create a world like the silver-haired man's. Unfortunately, it didn't. There was only one world and it was still shrinking. Why did it start to cause trouble again? Anyway, whenever something happened, Ning Shu would be alarmed. He didn't know if something would happen to the world. Ning Shu put down the book and went to the world of reincarnation with the black bone umbrella. Just checking these things took a lot of work. Walking into the black hole, Ning Shu found that a new world had grown. Ning Shu was numb to this. In any case, he was constantly evolving the world, but he did not evolve the rebirth pool. No matter how many worlds you create, it wouldn't be as meaningful as the rebirth pool. One more world meant one more portion of soul energy to feed. Could the rebirth pool afford it? Ning Shu's heart was also exhausted. Walking to the rebirth pool, he asked Li Si, "Is there an evil beast?" Even if there was, he hoped that it wouldn't be born so soon. Li Si shook his head. "There's nothing for now. Don't worry." Don't worry? No. She wasn't worried at all. She was worried to death. She had so many things to worry about. Then you take a good look. If there's anything, inform me immediately. Ning Shu stood beside the rebirth pool and watched some souls jump in. Some had a pained expression, some had a numb expression, and some had a yearning expression. There were also some non-human animal souls that jumped in. Non-human or wandering souls like these were especially susceptible to the temptation of the rebirth pool. Weak souls like these could only be reborn as weak living beings in the afterlife. Unless there was a fortuitous encounter, it was basically impossible to strengthen one's soul. With each reincarnation, the soul grew weaker and weaker until it was finally destroyed. The toxins removed from these souls would form calamity beasts. Ning Shu felt sad and happy at the same time. He was sad because of the calamity beast, and happy because his soul jumped in and extracted a portion of his soul power, which could be used to support the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu wondered if the main system's device for purifying soul power was an imitation of the pool of rebirth. The pool of rebirth could remove the poison from the pool of souls. The soul power offered by the client was turbid, and the main system needed to purify the soul power. Ning Shu circled around the reincarnation pool. If she could figure out how the reincarnation pool worked, wouldn't she be able to purify soul fluid, soul stones, and soul origin fluid in the future? If he could purify it himself, he wouldn't have to give up a part of it. That would be great. The problem was that he didn't know. Could it be that the water of the reincarnation pool worked? Even if he poured the soul fluid in and purified it, the problem was how to get the soul power out. He was bald. Who knew what the organization's purification device was like? Even if he asked, it wouldn't tell him. It was the same as asking how the skeleton of an abyssal prefect was born. Knowledge was monopolized. In order to obtain this knowledge, Ning Shu had to work hard. Ning Shu gave up on thinking about it. He was afraid that the purification device wasn't that simple. A portion of the soul power collected by the organization was actually used to supply the army. The army was also a soul, and it needed to strengthen the soul. Moreover, there was no limit to it. The stronger, the better. The army was really a money-eating monster. It ate soul power and merit. The skeleton of an abyssal prefect only ate merit. Ning Shu shook the dust off his skirt and gave Li Si a merit grain, telling him to guard it well. The golden color on Li Si's body was thicker now. Before, it was a faint golden color. Some parts of his body weren't symmetrical and were still white. Although it was still a faint golden color, it wasn't white and gold like vitiligo. His entire body was covered in a layer of faint golden color. The least, It was symmetrical. Even so, Ning Shu already felt that Li Si was a money-eating man. She was going to raise another man now. Ning Shu wanted to cover his face. What should he do? He couldn't afford it. Thinking about the thousands of wild men waiting for her to raise, Ning Shu chose death. Of course, not all the bones were male. There were also female ones. Thinking about the thousands of wild women waiting for her to raise, Ning Shu wanted to jump into the reincarnation pool. Li Si took the merit grain and put it in his mouth. Ning Shu's face turned green as he asked, "What taste is it?" Li Si was stunned. "It doesn't have any taste. It's white and a little hot. After eating it, my whole body feels as comfortable as if it's on fire." Ning Shu was speechless. After asking Li Si to guard the reincarnation pool, Ning Shu went to the second level. After going to the second level, she still had to go to the third level. After going to the third level, she still had to go to the fourth level. This time, she wanted to see if she could enter the fifth level. She didn't know what kind of shock the fifth level would give her. In short, because the Nine Palace Mountain didn't have a world of reincarnation, it gave birth to a smaller world. This was something that had never been seen in other planes. Holding the black bone umbrella, Ning Shu entered the second level. Along the way, she went to find Yi Lin. When she encountered the refinement of soul fluid, she snatched it and destroyed the device. Where did the man who created this model go? Why didn't he appear? Why was soul fluid being refined everywhere now? How did this kind of array formation spread everywhere? Even so, the number of souls captured was less than half of what it used to be. In the past, when souls were trapped in a city, they couldn't escape even if they wanted to. Now, everyone lived in an open area. When people died, their souls couldn't be captured immediately. Some souls were spared from the evil hands. Ning Shu relied on her exceptional martial arts to sense and found Yi Lin and Bai Sisi. The two of them were in a sorry state. They were injured and surrounded by a group of people. Ning Shu held the umbrella and slowly floated down from the sky in front of Yi Lin and Bai Sisi. She looked at the people surrounding the two of them. There were all kinds of sect uniforms, as well as some itinerant cultivators. When Yi Lin saw Ning Shu, his eyes lit up. He immediately shouted, "Master?" When the people surrounding the two of them saw Ning Shu, some of the perverted men immediately shouted, "Where did this bitch come from? Get lost." Ning Shu exclaimed, "Why? Don't you recognize me after changing clothes? Look carefully, I'm a red-clothed demoness. So many people are bullying my disciple. Are you trying to kill me?" Red-clothed demoness, why is she here? She hasn't appeared in a long time. Ning Shu played with the umbrella and looked at these people. She asked, "There must be a reason why so many people are surrounding my disciple, /BK. Chapter 2773. Red Demoness, why don't you ask your disciple what he did? A disciple pointed at Yi Lin and said. Ning Shu looked at him. How can I not know what my disciple did? I'm asking you. Being stared at by Ning Shu, the disciple's face trembled. He's wanted. He destroyed a lot of equipment and stole other people's soul fluid. Ning Shu replied, "So what? My disciple is doing a good deed. He's liberating his soul and not letting it turn into soul fluid." Ning Shu said, "Bah, robber's actions. You can make it sound so righteous. You're indeed a demoness and her disciple, jackals of the same tribe, colluding together." Another disciple sneered, his face full of ridicule. Ning Shu twirled the umbrella. "All right, if I tell you the truth, no one will believe me. Since you don't believe me, I will definitely support my disciple's actions." Demoness is a demoness, so arrogant, the surrounding people were discussing. "Master, many sects are looking for me. There's even a sacred envoy looking for Cece's whereabouts." Yi Lin whispered. "Oh, this is the rhythm of going against the whole world." Ning Shu said directly, "What's there to be afraid of? I'll support you. If that sect is looking for you, we'll fight our way to their mountain gate." Yi Lin did not have much hope for his elusive master. Who knows when she'll appear? Ning Shu's arrogant words stirred up the surrounding people's indignation. If it was said that they came to take the two's heads because of the generous reward, Now they wanted to kill Yi Lin because of their sense of justice. Yi Lin wiped his face and said to Ning Shu, "Master, let's break through first. We'll talk about the rest later. Today, none of you can leave." He heard that the demoness in red was powerful, but there were so many people here. There were elite sect disciples and powerful rogue cultivators. He did not believe that the three of them could escape. Ning Shu closed the black bone umbrella and said, "I have already memorized the names of all your sections. If there is an opportunity, I will visit each of your sects one by one." The faces of the sect disciples turned ugly. Was this considered a threat? He had never seen such a shameless person. How could he be so reasonable when he snatched someone else's stuff? However, when they heard that the red-clothed demoness was going to pay a visit to the sect, the hearts of these disciples still gave birth to a sense of fear. Wherever he went, he was a destructive maniac. If his sect was destroyed, wouldn't he be ridiculed by others? There was simply no justice in this world. Ning Shu carried one person in each hand and immediately jumped through space, disappearing from the encirclement. Just like that, he disappeared. Some of the cultivators with higher cultivation saw this and immediately cursed in their hearts. This was teleportation, a spell that could cover 1,000 miles in a single step. Not to be trifled with, not to be trifled with. Some loose cultivators had the intention to retreat. If they were targeted by the red-clothed demoness, they would definitely be out of luck. The faces of the sect disciples turned ugly. Some of them used jade stones to record the situation and brought it back to the sect elders to see. Ning Shu stopped and released the two people. He opened the black bone umbrella again and looked at the young couple. "Didn't you want to establish a sect? Why haven't you made any progress yet? You are being chased everywhere." "This disciple has established it. However, as of now, the sect only has the two of us." Yi Lin scratched his head and said, "Ning Shu." It was indeed quite pitiful. He even had the entire world as his enemy. "Master, this is the soul fluid I have collected recently. I will give it all to you." Yi Lin took out the soul fluid. Ning Shu saw that the amount was not small. "How much did you rob?" "In order to build up the sect's reputation, I broke a lot of equipment." Yi Lin said. Ning Shu kept the soul fluid and asked, "Did you drink this soul fluid?" Yi Lin shook his head. "I didn't drink it. That was a living soul. He couldn't drink it." Ning Shu nodded. "I didn't drink it properly. This kind of thing will pollute the soul. If I drink it directly, I will be finished. It is easy to be affected by the negative things inside and go berserk." "What is your sect called?" Ning Shu asked. In any case, it was his disciple's sect. He wanted to know the name. Did she have to give a gift to establish a sect? Ning Shu thought again. What did she have to give him? Was it something that Yi Lin needed? Yi Lin, it is called the Hall of Soul Life. The name is not bad. Ning Shu nodded. He was thinking about what gift to give. What weapon do you like to use? Speaking of which, Yi Lin didn't have a weapon. Moreover, Yi Lin had collected a lot of soul fluid for her. She wanted to return the favor by giving him a powerful weapon. Yi Lin waved his hand and said, "Master, I don't need a weapon. I can release a lot of energy now." Ning Shu looked at the sword at his waist. "Then I will give you a sword." Yi Lin didn't refuse. He cupped his hands. "Thank you, Master." Ning Shu asked 2333 to find a sword. It would be best if it was a pair of Mandarin duck swords. He wanted to give it to Yi Lin and Bai Sisi. Soon, Ning Shu had 2 swords in his hand. He gave them to Yi Lin. "One for each of you. 2 people will be more powerful. This is a pair of lovers' swords. This thing wasn't cheap. It cost 40,000 merit points. It was almost enough to buy the black bone umbrella." "Thank you, Master." "Thank you, Senior." Yi Lin and Bai Sisi both took out their swords. The 2 drew their swords, reflecting a snow-white light. The 2 swords vibrated slightly. Yi Lin channeled his energy into the swords and slashed at a tree. A huge, muscular bull ran out from the sword and charged at the tree. The surrounding trees were knocked to the ground. "Amazing." "Thank you, Master." Yi Lin touched the swords. His face showed that he liked them. "It's good that you like them. Master, I'm going now. Be careful. Don't die." "Yes." The young couple cupped their hands and bowed to Ningshu. These two were actually a couple of thieves. Wherever they went, they would steal soul fluid. Ningshu encouraged Yilin. Don't be shaken. Master can tell you that everything you do is right. Don't give up just because you stand against the majority. You are right. Bai Sisi wanted to say something but stopped. In the end, she didn't say anything. In her moral values, this wasn't right. Bai Sisi was worried that Yilin was being used by others to collect soul fluid for them. What was the difference between Yilin's master's actions and those of those who refined soul fluid? The problem was that he was trying to brainwash Yilin. You are right. You are right. In the end, it was all for the sake of obtaining soul fluid. Those sects were so angry that they wanted to kill Yilin. It wasn't because Yilin was going around stealing soul fluid and causing their sects to suffer losses that they wanted to kill Yilin. Yilin's situation was quite bad. Moreover, she was a danger. The sects would even send sacred envoys to capture her. At this time, as a master, he was still encouraging his disciple to go against the majority. This was a fake master and disciple relationship. Bai Sisi didn't understand. Why did Yilin really think that his master was right? /BK. Chapter 2774. Bai Sisi's mind was flooded with comments. She felt that there was something wrong with this master of Yilin's. She had given him a weapon so that Yilin would willingly collect soul fluid for her. She had even refused to let Yilin absorb the soul fluid. Bai Sisi had never used soul fluid before, so she didn't know if it was true that he had gone berserk. For Yilin's sake, Bai Sisi couldn't stand by and watch him get tricked by her master again and again. Right now, Yilin was surrounded by enemies. Although Yilin was quite strong, he wasn't strong enough to go against the entire world. If many experts joined forces, Yilin definitely wouldn't be able to handle it. How could he withstand the attacks of so many people with the weapon his master had given him? Bai Sisi felt that if Yilin hadn't been killed by experts, then he had been tricked to death by his master. Bai Sisi wanted to say something, but hesitated. She glanced at Yilin, who was flipping the sword over and over again. She cupped her hands to Ningshu and said, "Senior, can we talk?" Ningshu asked, "About what?" "About Yilin," Bai Sisi said. "Let's go to the side and talk." Bai Sisi didn't want Yilin to know what she was talking about with his master. Ningshu raised his eyebrows. He held the umbrella and followed Bai Sisi to the side. "What do you want to talk to me about? What do you want to talk about Yilin?" Bai Sisi's expression was a bit awkward. She said, "Senior, you can continue to lie to Yilin." Ningshu was bored to death, but he didn't get angry. He asked in return, "What did I lie to him about? If he thinks I lied to him, he'll ask me immediately. There's no need for you to ask me. You're his master. A son shouldn't blame his father. He definitely won't ask you about it." Ningshu snorted. "You're underestimating Yilin too much. Besides, why would I lie to him? Lying takes energy." Bai Sisi bit her lip. "Naturally, it's for the soul fluid. It's to get Yilin to help you find it." Ningshu twirled the handle of the umbrella. "If I really wanted to find the soul fluid, I could have done it myself. I didn't need Yilin's help. It was Yilin who took the initiative to help me find it. Don't say that I lied to him. He knows very well whether or not he was lied to. Then, when you incited Yilin to go against so many people, did you not consider his safety?" Ningshu's expression was indifferent. Even if he went against so many people, would he be as dangerous as the sacred emissary from your sect? You're also a troublemaker. You and I are the same. As for what Yilin has done, if I say he's right, then he's right, even if others don't agree with him. Now, Yilin's body was faintly glowing with the golden light of merit. This was a genuine merit. It allowed many people to have the opportunity to enter the world of samsara and be reborn. This was a lot of merit. Bai Sisi saw Yilin snatch the soul fluid and destroy the device used to refine it. Since there was the soul fluid, why not take it and throw it away? The soul fluid was just incidental. Did she really think that what Yilin did with her was just for a little bit of soul fluid? Bai Sisi bit her lip. "No matter what, I don't want to see him hurt. It's a good thing he did. If you really have any doubts, you can ask him instead of me. Ning Shu didn't intend to say much to his disciple's girlfriend. If he said too much, it would turn into her trying to break up the couple. What are you talking about? Yi Lin put his sword back into the scabbard and walked over to ask, "Why do you look so serious?" Bai Sisi shook her head. "Nothing." Ning Shu said, "She thinks I lied to you and tricked you into finding the soul fluid." Bai Sisi, was it really okay to be so direct? Yi Lin, out of the blue, a fatal question had appeared. If he scolded his wife in front of his master, she would lose face. Moreover, his wife had gone to ask his master for his sake. If his master was unhappy, he might even hurt her. If she went to question someone with a higher cultivation than her, she would face the consequences of being beaten up. But if she didn't make things clear, his master would still smile coldly and face the consequences of being beaten up. It was time to test her EQ. Yi Lin smiled and said to Bai Sisi, "No such thing. I'll tell you what happened in private." Bai Sisi glanced at Ning Shu and nodded without saying anything. Yi Lin said to Ning Shu, "I didn't tell her about this. She doesn't know the reason." Ning Shu grunted. "Take care of yourself. I'm leaving." Anyway, they had obtained a lot of soul fluid, and Bai Sisi had helped Yi Lin a lot. Ning Shu wouldn't bicker with a junior. She was Yi Lin's little girlfriend, so she was his junior. He had to show the magnanimity of an elder. "Then master, take care." He cupped his hands and said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu held the black bone umbrella and disappeared. Yi Lin let out a long breath and wiped the cold sweat on his head. He felt like he was sandwiched between his mother and wife. It was like walking on a tightrope. If he wasn't careful, he would fall to pieces. Ning Shu entered the world of the third level. The world of the third level was flourishing. Many laws were being perfected. It was full of vitality. Ning Shu stretched out his hand and collected several pure white threads of faith power. He put them away and walked around the world to take a look. There was no need for her to do anything now. This world could continue on its own. That was awesome. Entering the fourth level, Ning Shu couldn't help but want to cover her eyes when she saw the beast men with various animal heads. According to her senses, she found the pig people who had delivered the babies. These pig people had grown up so quickly. This speed, they probably took hormones. How could they grow so fast? It felt like delivering babies was just yesterday. Halfway through, she just picked up trash and did missions. How could these pig people who had just been delivered have grown up and were about to give birth again? The speed. The lifespan of the beastmen was too short. Ning Shu didn't plan to go up and acknowledge them. After all, the beastmen were famous for having no intelligence. If she appeared in front of the female pig person who had delivered the babies, her husband probably wouldn't recognize her. After all, she had changed her clothes. If she changed her identity, they wouldn't recognize her. Ning Shu formed a seal with both hands and opened her heavenly eye. She saw the souls of humans and beastmen intertwined and reincarnated. When this world was connected to the world of reincarnation, the beastmen would disappear. But she didn't know how long she would have to wait. After all, the space tunnel she built was relatively weak. Even if she managed to build it, it wouldn't take long. By then, there would be a lot of trouble. Ning Shu decided to wait until she could build a more stable space tunnel. Anyway, this mode had existed for so long. There was no hurry. It was useless to be anxious. The space tunnel couldn't be built quickly. The beastmen were relatively lowly and didn't have much intelligence. They were ignorant and did physical work. Their little physical strength allowed them to survive in this world and not starve to death. Chapter 2775. After seeing the world on the fourth level, Ning Shu planned to enter the fifth level. Although the world was a bit deceitful, Ning Shu was still secretly looking forward to it. Maybe there would be something good on the fifth level. If there wasn't, she could accept it. She would be satisfied with just one look. However, Ning Shu couldn't enter the fifth level even after squeezing for a while. Why couldn't she enter the fifth level? She wanted to see what kind of world it was. Could it be that the fifth level was some special world? Or was it that the heavenly axiom of the fifth level didn't allow her to enter? She could enter and exit the previous world as she wished because the heavenly axiom ignored her existence. When there was nothing to do, it could even make use of her. However, she couldn't enter the 5th level even after trying a few times. The more it didn't allow her to enter, the more curious Ning Shu became. Ning Shu tried to enter the 5th level again, but she couldn't enter. Fine, if it didn't allow her to enter, she would enter one day. She didn't have much, but she had a lot of time. As long as it wasn't empty like the world on the 3rd level, she would definitely need the world of reincarnation. Even if the world was connected to the world of reincarnation, there would still be some side effects that needed to be dealt with. I'm not in a hurry, not in a hurry at all. After patrolling all the places that needed to be patrolled, Ning Shu's heart felt a little more at ease. The moment she returned to the system space, the chat system rang. Ning Shu had a very strong intuition that it must be asking her to pick up rubbish. She didn't send messages when she was doing missions. She would only send messages when she was done. She didn't feel anything at all. The main system knew clearly whether she was doing missions or not. She strongly requested the system to add a privacy option. She felt that her actions were clear to others. Ning Shu remembered that she seemed to have blocked it before. Why didn't it work now? Closing the black bone umbrella, Ning Shu refused to open the chat system. She clearly didn't have the right to pick up rubbish now. After all, her understanding of the spatial laws was terrible. In her situation, she should be kicked out of the rubbish-picking team. She couldn't set a precedent. Otherwise, how could she convince the masses? However, the rubbish-picking bosses didn't seem to be willing. Ning Shu sat on the sofa and opened the chat system. As expected, it was from the main system asking her to pick up rubbish. The main system, please complete the volunteer activity. Ning Shu was speechless. I refused. I had already picked up rubbish many times. There were planes collapsing every day. Could it be that he was going to pick them up until the end of time? However, when he thought of his own world, Ning Shu still decided to go. After all, asking the silver-haired man would require money, and there were so many big shots picking up trash. He didn't even need to pay for asking. Ning Shu clicked on the chat interface of Senior Uncle Tai, saying that he had applied to pick up trash, but he couldn't get through now. If not for the fact that he was picking up trash, Ning Shu felt that it would be better to go and comprehend the laws of space. Why was it so difficult to comprehend the laws of space? Ning Shu felt uncomfortable all over. When would he be able to construct a large and sturdy spatial tunnel? It didn't take long for a passage to appear in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu followed the passage to the plane. As soon as he came out, debris floated everywhere. Ning Shu took the bag and began to pick up the fragments. He glanced at Grand Elder, who was handling the star stones, and moved over while picking up the fragments. Grand Elder, I won't give you the star stones. Ning Shu's expression was very serious. I'm not here to ask for star stones. I'm not the kind of person who would die for star stones. Grand Elder, Ning Shu hesitated for a moment before asking, I have something to ask you. Grand Elder nodded. Sure. If it's a difficult question, your reward this time will be offset. Ning Shu? She was really wrong. She thought that she could get rid of the fate of asking questions and paying money here. Obviously, it was impossible. She felt that he had learned from the silver-haired man, so he had learned to ask questions and ask for money. It was the same as the silver-haired man. Ning Shu said, It's not a difficult question. It's just that my world is becoming smaller. Why is that? Grand Elder didn't even raise his head as he dealt with the star stones. Then your world is going to be cold. Ning Shu? It was as if she was strangling his neck. Can you be more serious? I'm asking seriously. Grand Elder raised his head and pushed up his glasses. If I don't answer seriously, it's basically over. No, I'm going to suffocate. I can't breathe again. Ning Shu felt that this answer was too perfunctory. It wasn't the answer she wanted. Why? Ning Shu asked. It's the same reason as muscle atrophy. Ning Shu shook her head. I don't quite understand. There are many reasons for muscle atrophy. For example, if she was sick and was bedridden all year round, she didn't use her muscles. Her muscles were all shrinking. Also, when she was sick, her muscles would also atrophy. Malnutrition. Right? Ning Shu felt very tired. She still had to spend some money to ask the silver-haired man. Although the silver-haired man was a bit black-hearted, he wouldn't use uncertain words like, right. She felt that Grand Elder wasn't a professional in this area. Grand Elder, then your world will definitely be cold. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu grabbed her bag and quickly slipped away. You want 100,000 merit points with such an answer? You want me to work for you for free? Dream on. Ning Shu happily picked up the trash and moved toward Fragrant Wind. Ning Shu. Ning Shu was about to talk to Fragrant Wind when she heard someone calling her. She turned her head and saw Mo Ming in a military uniform. Ning Shu immediately smiled and greeted him. You're here too. Mo Ming was trying his best to pull the plane like the others so that it wouldn't run away. She felt that the golden light on Mo Ming's body was even brighter. He should have earned a lot of merit points. And his soul was very strong, even stronger than hers. In the army, as long as one had the ability, merit points could be added to one's body and soul power could be absorbed at will. One wasn't afraid of being strong, but not strong enough. Unlike mission enforcers, who couldn't add merit points to themselves and couldn't make their souls too strong. She felt that Mo Ming would climb faster than her in the future. So what if he had strong luck? After greeting Mo Ming, Ning Shu asked Fragrant Wind a question about the world. Fragrant Wind was baffled. Your world has shrunk. How would I know why? You don't even know why, so why are you asking me? Ridiculous. It felt like your house collapsed, but you actually came to ask me why your house collapsed. How would I know why? Don't you know what your world is like? What a joke. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. I want to ask, will the world shrink when it happens? Fragrant Wind shook her head. No. Ning Shu, haven't you encountered such a situation before? Fragrant Wind, anyway, my world has never shrunk. Ning Shu sighed. Sure enough, people who didn't take money were unreliable. After receiving money, they should at least be worth the money. Chapter 2776. Ning Shu had already given up on asking. If he had the time and strength, it would be better for him to pick up the trash and ask the silver-haired man after picking up the trash. Ning Shu began to focus on picking up the trash. The more he picked up, the faster he would get. Ning Shu was worried about the world and just wanted to pick up the trash as soon as possible. Then he would spend some consulting fees to ask the silver-haired man. Ning Shu picked up bag after bag, tied them up, and opened them. Ning Shu picked up more, but the others picked less. Picking up fragments was not very tiring, but it was quite tiring to pick up too much. Since someone picked up more quickly, it didn't matter if they picked up slower. Ning Shu was happily picking up the trash while the others were picking up the trash casually. The grand uncle frowned. He was really not enthusiastic about work. Eating from the same pot was the most depressing thing. Anyway, if he didn't do it, there would be others. It was okay for him to be lazy. Besides, those who had comprehended the rules were not here to pick up trash. At this time, those who did more would be scolded as idiots. Ning Shu was such an idiot. When it was time to connect to the plane, Ning Shu waited below, waiting to pick up some leftover star stones. Although it wasn't much, a little was still a little. Maybe a catastrophe would be prevented because of a little more star stones in the future. So, the more the better. After picking up 2 drops of leftover materials, Ning Shu put them away and followed the others to the next place. In the space channel, Mo Ming asked Ning Shu, "Do you need star stones?" Ning Shu nodded worriedly. Yes. Actually, General, and he has a lot of star stones in his hands. Of course, Ning Shu knew. Could it be that the extra star stones ended up in Enhe's warehouse? He remembered that the army had taken the extra star stones away. Ning Shu tiptoed and looked at Enhe, who was walking in front, to kill him with Cho Fu Guanghua. Mo Ming said, "Actually, these things can't be sold. If there are more in the future, quickly pick up 2 more pieces." Ning Shu nodded. "I know. You have more medals now." Mo Ming said, "Life in the army is not challenging. It's too boring." Ning Shu was speechless. "I don't know how to comfort you. Mission enforcers were constantly doing missions, and the army was constantly patrolling the plains. In any case, life was quite boring. However, he would become stronger. Soon, they arrived at the place where the plane had collapsed. This plane had been discovered early. Now, the entire plane's walls were filled with cracks. The plane was doomed. It was only a matter of time before the plane collapsed. There were already armies controlling the planes around the collapsed plane. Now, all they had to do was wait for the plane to collapse. Now that the plane had become like this, it must be like the end of the world in the plane. The earth was shaking, the mountains were shaking, and the volcanoes were erupting. In short, everything was destroyed. And he asked a man in military uniform, "Have the creatures inside been settled down?" "It's all settled down." At this time, all it took was a little bit of external force, a light poke, and the whole world would explode like glass. The Grand Uncle seemed to have set up a thick spatial wall around the plane to prevent the fragments of the plane from splashing everywhere and rushing to the next plane. Then, the Grand Uncle pulled out his gun and casually fired a shot at the plane that was about to shatter. The bullet penetrated the plane, but the plane did not react. After a while, the plane directly collapsed. This was a silent explosion. The huge force splashed the plane fragments everywhere. All kinds of things in the plane were instantly annihilated into ashes, leaving only pieces of plane fragments. This proved that this plane had once existed. Under the impact of the huge explosion, no one moved at all. The corners of their clothes fluttered in the wind. Ning Shu hurriedly tied up her skirt, causing her skirt to fly up in the wind. When the impact of the explosion was gone, everyone picked up the garbage bags and started picking up the garbage. The Grand Uncle said to everyone, "Don't be in a hurry to pick up the garbage. Since you feel that eating in a big pot will weaken your willpower, then let's contract it to everyone. After everyone picks up 100,000 fragments, you can leave. You don't have to worry about picking up too many fragments. You don't have to worry about being at a disadvantage." Everyone looked at each other. There were 100,000 fragments of different sizes. Moreover, it would take at least 5 worlds to pick up 100,000 fragments. It also depended on the speed of picking them up. If they were slow, they would have to keep picking them up. They could only leave after picking up enough fragments. At this time, not only did they have to pick up fast, but they also had to pick up more fragments. Otherwise, when everyone left, they would have to pick up fragments with the next group of people. How embarrassing would that be? If the big shots did not care about 100,000 merit points, this merit point was really nothing. If it was not mandatory, they would not have come at all. Now that there was such a rule, they had to work hard to pick up 100,000 fragments. As long as they picked up enough fragments, they could leave at any time. Relatively speaking, the benefits outweighed the disadvantages. 100,000 pieces. Ning Shu felt that it was really too much. They were going to waste their hands. "Since you think it's okay, then let's do it," the Grand Uncle said calmly. The team did not feel anything before, but after some people were especially diligent, some people became more lazy. Laziness cancer was contagious. "Okay." Everyone responded. They took the bags and started to pick up the trash. They were much faster than before. They all wanted to finish the task and leave quickly. When Mo Ming passed by Ning Shu, he said, "One bag can hold 20,000 fragments. You'll have completed the task if you pick up 5 bags. Ning Shu immediately nodded. "Oh, okay." Mo Ming was arranged to control the plane that was still intact. Ning Shu carried the bag and ran very fast. He stuffed fragments into the bag. His speed was not slow. When the others saw that Ning Shu was fast, they had no choice but to speed up. If they did not pick up enough fragments, they would have to push to the next location again and again until the task was completed. Based on this woman's speed, if they did not hurry up, they would be finished in a while. She could complete the task quickly and leave, but they could not. They had to keep picking up fragments. The plane fragments disappeared at a very fast speed. They were all picked up and put into the bag. When the fragments were all gone, Ning Shu picked up 2 bags of fragments. These fragments had rules. Ordinary plane fragments were not counted, but ordinary plane fragments still had to be picked up. In total, he picked up 2 mouthfuls of rules and 2 bags of ordinary fragments. At this speed, he would be able to complete the task in 2 more times. Ning Shu sat down to rest, holding the blackened black bone umbrella. This time the speed was quite fast. Everyone was rushing to do it. When the fragments were all picked up, the Grand Uncle's star stones had not been dealt with. Not only did they have to deal with the star stones on the fragments, but they also had to deal with the star stones inlaid on the plain wall. When they tore off the tape, there was also glue on the adhesive side. They also had to clean it up. Otherwise, it would not be easy to inlay the plane again. This work was quite tiring. Ning Shu would rather pick up trash. This time, the star stones were obviously not enough. Fragrant Wind immediately sent someone to the warehouse to bring some star stones over. Chapter 2777. After everyone had a specific number of fragments, they became more active. It was especially convenient for them to leave after they finished. Ning Shu picked up 3 times and successfully completed the task. She even picked up an extra bag. After picking up 100,000 fragments, her whole body felt comfortable. It was as if she was about to be sublimated. After Ning Shu picked up the leftovers of the star stones, she immediately said to the Grand Uncle, "My task is completed. Send me away." The Grand Uncle, "Completed? You picked up 100,000 fragments." Ning Shu nodded. "I'm done." She couldn't say that she picked up an extra bag. If he were to say that capable people do more work, she wouldn't even be able to cry. With this time, she'd better comprehend the space law. If that didn't work, she'd do the task. She anxiously asked the silver-haired man what was going on in her world. It kept shrinking until it was only the size of a square inch. As an ordinary space, it couldn't even hold things, let alone give birth to living creatures. Therefore, Ning Shu was anxious. She had fed so much soul origin and finally repaired it, but now it was shrinking again. After investing so much, she really couldn't bear to give up this peerless martial art. She was very reluctant. If she could save it, she would save it. After all, she had invested so much and she always wanted to get back her money. Ning Shu was almost like a gambler now. She always wanted to turn the tables. Others gambled on their feelings, while she gambled on her future. The Grand Uncle didn't speak. Ning Shu said, "You can check if I've really completed the task." "Do you want to pick up more?" the Grand Uncle asked. Ning Shu shook her head without thinking. The Grand Uncle's tone seemed to be asking if she wanted to play more, but the problem was that this wasn't playing. It was obviously very tiring. Could it be that she finished too quickly and was too eye-catching? A few people had already left, so she wasn't eye-catching. Ning Shu had a bad feeling in her heart. Was she going to be exploited for labor again? The Grand Uncle asked, "I heard that you're comprehending the space law. How's it going?" Ning Shu, the person who usually ignored her, was suddenly so concerned about her situation and even asked about her progress. Ning Shu had already smelled the scent of a conspiracy. He cautiously said, "It's okay, it's okay. It's just as a..." Senior Uncle reached out and pushed up his glasses. The glasses reflected a cold luster, revealing a smile that he thought was more sinister. Ning Shu was speechless. "What are you laughing at? You haven't even comprehended the spatial passageway yet. You call this not bad?" The Grand Elder shook his head and said, "You're too immodest." Ning Shu was expressionless. "Then I didn't comprehend it well. Send me back. I still have things to do." Ning Shu glanced at Fragrant Wind. He would let Fragrant Wind send him away later. The Grand Elder asked, "Do you want to comprehend the law of space?" Ning Shu's heart sounded an alarm, and all the hair on his body stood on end. His whole body tensed up. Comprehension is up to fate. The Grand Elder pushed up his glasses. "How about this? I'll tell you some insights about the law of space. You can do it yourself." The alarm in Ning Shu's heart was even sharper. It was hysterical and especially loud. He hurriedly refused. No. You're busy every day. How can I take up your time? It'll be just a while." Ning Shu, don't laugh. My legs are weak." Ning Shu felt that he was being tricked, but he couldn't be greedy. He didn't plan to get any insights about the law of space from the Grand Elder. She had already torn up the original insights. She didn't want to get them from anyone else. The most important thing was that she couldn't understand the insights of that shit. Ning Shu felt that he might be defeated in the law of space. He probably didn't have the talent in this area, which caused his comprehension to be slow and awkward. It took a lot of time, but he gained little. It was very frustrating. Ning Shu asked directly, "What do you need me to do?" "Actually, it's not a big deal. Other people pick up 100,000, but you pick up 500,000 each time," the Grand Elder said. Ning Shu chuckled. "Why do I have more? 5 times more? You want me to work myself to death?" The Grand Elder, "No, it's based on your situation. 500,000 is fine. You can take 1,000,000 if you work harder." Ning Shu really wanted to spit in his face, but he held it back. "I pick up more, but the salary is the same." But he finally confirmed that he was being targeted. He wanted to make her work hard. Eat as much as others and do as much as others. But what a slut. Capable people do more work. This is an acknowledgement of your strength. If other people pick up 100,000 and you pick up 50,000, wouldn't you feel discriminated against? Don't insult it? The Grand Elder said. Fuck, stop talking. What he said was pure nonsense. Don't talk to me about dreams. My dream is to not pick up trash and get star stones. I don't need to prove my strength. Of course, I'll give you 100,000 more merit points. If you don't understand anything about merit points, you can ask me. Ning Shu curled her lips. This is like asking me to work. You want me to do 5 people's work. The benefit is to give me 100,000 more merit points and help me comprehend the space laws? If I really comprehend the space laws quickly, you won't have to open a space channel for me to work every time. Ning Shu said that she had seen many tricks and could see through this one at a glance. She could slowly comprehend the space laws. It was no big deal. It would just take a little more time. But this Grand Elder actually used this as a bargaining chip to make a deal with her. Even if she really comprehended the space laws quickly, the Grand Elder would be the one who would have an easy time. She wouldn't need him to build a space channel every time she came. In the future, he would be at her beck and call whenever she picked up trash. He would also build the space channel by himself. He was the only one who could do something like this that would reap huge profits with little capital. It was almost coaxing and cheating. Ning Shu wasn't so excited that someone would help her comprehend the space laws, so she agreed. Back then, when she hadn't made any progress in comprehending the space laws, she had endured it by sitting in the space city. Now, she was half a step into the door and was only 1 step away. The deal wasn't sincere. Ning Shu opened the black bone umbrella. The Grand Elder frowned and took a few steps back. Ning Shu smiled. Please send me back. I've already completed the task. If you think it's too troublesome, I'll find someone else. The Grand Elder raised his eyebrows. Don't you want to comprehend the space laws? Ning Shu turned the umbrella handle. Yes, I want to. Even in my dreams. But after thinking about it, comprehending the space laws is just building a space channel and making picking up trash more convenient. As for the 4th level of the 9 Palace Mountain, although it needed to be connected to the reincarnation world, that mode had existed for a long time. There wouldn't be any problems in a short time. Therefore, Ning Shu actually had a lot of time to comprehend the space laws. Chapter 2778. Reading on the phone. As for whether she could pick up the trash, Ning Shu felt that it was better not to let her pick it up. After all, he had already gotten a lot of star stones. It didn't matter if she didn't pick up trash for a while. Therefore, there was nothing to ask in front of others. There was nothing to be afraid of. You want to trick me? Dream on. The Grand Uncle pointed his finger and constructed a space tunnel. Ning Shu got into the tunnel and turned around to wave at the Grand Uncle with a smile. I'm not afraid. The Grand Uncle was expressionless. He clenched his 5 fingers slightly, and the originally stable space tunnel began to collapse. Soon, it collapsed to Ning Shu's feet. Oh my God. Ning Shu almost jumped up and ran all the way while holding his long skirt. The tunnel behind him was collapsing as if the bridge was broken. If he fell, he could be submerged in an unknown place or in an unknown chaotic space and couldn't get out. It was also possible that it would be annihilated like the spatial passageway and disappear completely. When Ning Shu ran back to the system space, the space tunnel behind him had completely collapsed and no longer existed. She didn't succeed and became angry out of embarrassment. Ning Shu lay down on the sofa. Even so, it wouldn't scare her. At worst, he wouldn't let her pick up trash in the future. Let someone else build a space tunnel for him. Others 100,000, but she 500,000. Ning Shu just wanted to slap her. The chat system rang. Ning Shu opened the chat system. It was a message from the grand uncle. The content was the same as last time. He wanted the source of life. Ning Shu remembered the milky white raindrops in the ultimate martial arts. He took a glass container the size of a thumb and opened the lid. White water droplets condensed on his fingertips. He dripped 2 drops into the glass container, closed the lid, and shook it twice. The white water droplets shook twice in the container. They didn't touch the glass wall. Ning Shu showed this to the grand uncle. After the grand uncle saw it, he immediately asked, "Okay, what price do you want?" This thing should be the only one with no other branches. She should be able to set a price for it. How much should it cost? Ning Shu thought for a moment and asked, "How much are you giving me?" They were all testing the other party's bottom line. What if they bid too low? Eldest uncle, you set the price. It's up to you. Things were back to square one. Ning Shu kicked the ball back and said directly, "I don't know the price of this thing. You tell me." The eldest uncle probed, 1 million merit points. Ning Shu's price in his heart was 1 million to 2 million. After all, it was not a lot. Ning Shu agreed to the deal as a way to make a friend. Then, he turned to his uncle, who was holding the umbrella, and asked, "This umbrella is already black. Is there any way to turn it back to its original state? It can be recycled. It will clean up the things on it just like washing clothes. It will clean up the dirty things on it." Eldest uncle said, "Oh, there was such a function. Fortunately, he had asked about it. Otherwise, it would be such a waste of money if he threw it away and bought it again after using it. In the future, she would have to raise a lot of wild men, so she had to save some money. Even now, there was still Li Si waiting for her to take care of. What he ate was merit." Ning Shu handed the umbrella to his uncle and asked him to help deal with it. As for how much merit points would be needed, it would be easy to pay. Dealing with the dirty things on the umbrella required 10,000 merit points. 10,000 merit points was 40,000 less than 50,000 merit points. This way, he could save a lot of merit points. It would take some time to get the umbrella back. Ning Shu asked the main system for the reward for this volunteer work. 10,000 merit points was not a small amount. He could buy a lot of things. The main system, after 10 times of volunteer work, the reward will be given. Ning Shu, 10 times? Just how poor was the organization? It was obvious that they were in arrears of wages. The main system, 10 times, that's 1 million. That's a lot. Ning Shu, I want it now. I don't want to accumulate it. I don't want to buy things. I don't want to raise people. Obviously, the main system did not care about Ning Shu's complaints. If he said 10 times, then 10 times. Ning Shu just wanted to roll his eyes. He exchanged more than 20 merit grains and was ready to ask the skeleton for help if anything happened in the world of reincarnation. The current Li Si was not enough to deal with the disaster beast. Even if he could, he would not be able to do it alone. Skeletons, skeletons. Ning Shu felt that even if he could not raise an army, he could at least raise a few. Raising a few to guard the reincarnation pool in the world of reincarnation was also possible. But he did not know how to create skeletons. His Excellency did not tell him. Ning Shu wanted to experiment on his own, but he had no idea. Moreover, there were many things waiting for him to do. For example, doing missions, picking up trash, and comprehending the space law. He was stuck on the comprehension of the space law. Even if he comprehended the space law, there were many other laws waiting for him to comprehend. For example, time. Since space and time were high-level laws, he had comprehended the space law. Of course, he had to comprehend the time law as well. There was no harm in knowing a little. In short, there were many things waiting for him to do every day. Ning Shu had to do it step by step so that he would not panic. If he panicked, he would not be able to do anything well. What he had to do now was to take the Peerless Martial Arts book and find the silver-haired man to see what explanation he had. Ning Shu felt that it might be retribution. She had tormented the world of reincarnation so much before, and now it was the world of reincarnation tormenting her. She had lost money and was on tenterhooks. This life was simply unbearable. Ning Shu took the Peerless Martial Arts book and could not help but pat it. Finally, he sighed and went to the consultation room in Wood City. Walking into the consultation room, Ning Shu sat on the chair and waited for the silver-haired man to come out. After a while, the silver-haired man came out of the room. The silver-haired man sat down and saw the book in Ning Shu's hand. He could not help but frown. Is it about this world again? Ning Shu. Yes, it's about this world again. She did not want anything to happen to the world. Did he really think that she wanted to be troubled? The silver-haired man asked, "What do you want to consult this time?" Ning Shu said, "My world is shrinking. What's the reason? Is it because of the law of nothingness?" The silver-haired man was silent for a while. The longer he was silent, the more uneasy Ning Shu felt. There was an indescribable depression in his heart. His heart was suffocating. The silver-haired man said slowly, "It stands to reason that the world will slowly grow bigger. It's rare to see it shrink. If it's rare, then it must be a case. Since the world can grow bigger, it should be normal for it to shrink." Ning Shu quickly asked. The silver-haired man. "It's not normal." Ning Shu wanted to die. Why was it normal for it to grow bigger, but abnormal for it to shrink? Just like a balloon, it can be inflated and deflated. If you blow it again, it will grow bigger, right? Ning Shu gave a simple example. The silver-haired man shook his head. Your example itself is not appropriate. Have you seen children grow smaller and smaller? The space will grow bigger and bigger. When it grows to a certain extent, it will stop. This book came from the translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Chapter 2779. There are also some that are fixed in size, but it's definitely not normal for it to become smaller. As for the reason, I don't know. Ning Shu was speechless. Money was no longer useful now. Ning Shu asked, "Is it because of the law of nothingness that this world was originally a world of faith?" The silver-haired man's expression was very serious. "There's no precedent. If something happens, you'd better give up on your world." Ning Shu thought for a moment. If the world shrank to the size of the lake of the law of nothingness, and if the law of nothingness couldn't hold it, the world would disappear instantly. Then is there any way to prevent the world from shrinking? If this continued, her world would really be destroyed. The silver-haired man wasn't as anxious as Ning Shu. He just said, "The world of faith has the instinct to save itself. There's probably some reason that caused it to shrink. All actions and actions are instinctive to save the world. It's not necessarily a bad thing." Ning Shu sighed. He could only comfort himself in this way. Ning Shu looked at the silver-haired man. This person didn't know everything. There were also things that he didn't know. Since he didn't get any results, Ning Shu could only wait and see. He asked, "How much?" He didn't give a reason or a solution. He couldn't accept the price. The silver-haired man frowned. 10,000 merit points. Compared to more than 100,000, 10,000 merit points was really too cheap. But the silver-haired man said a few words that she didn't understand. "Forget it. Good thing, probably. Bad thing, probably. You've said all the good and bad things. Every time you open your mouth, you'll get 10,000 merit points." Ning Shu was convinced. She would flood the screen with 666. Ning Shu paid the 10,000 merit points and said to the silver-haired man, "You'd better go back and check what's going on. Otherwise, your reputation will be ruined." The silver-haired man closed the book. "Thank you for the advice." Then he lifted the curtain and entered the room. After wasting 10,000 merit points, he didn't get anything out of the silver-haired man. Ning Shu was very frustrated. But the world of faith had the instinct to save itself. Ning Shu could only comfort himself. The Peerless Martial Arts were actually saving itself. It was definitely saving itself. This was a good thing. Wow. Ning Shu hammered the ground. He couldn't comfort himself at all. Ning Shu returned to the system space and placed the book on the bookshelf. He sighed as he looked at it. This feeling was like a helpless old mother looking at her rebellious and pretentious son, helpless and heartbroken. Ning Shu picked up the AI beside him. The entire AI was black and square, just like a Rubik's Cube. But it didn't have the colors and blocks of the Rubik's Cube. It felt heavy in his hand. He remembered that he had lent this thing to a mission enforcer to deal with the aliens in the plane. He should have absorbed a lot of spiritual power. Ning Shu sank her consciousness into her brain and immediately felt a pain in her head. There was a spiritual force attacking the spiritual ball of her consciousness. The spiritual ball vibrated, and Ning Shu was in so much pain that he threw the brain away. It hurts. Fuck, she just wanted to see how much spiritual power the brain had. She didn't expect to be attacked instead. Now, she was so miserable that even a square AI was bullying her. What was even worse was that the spiritual power of an AI was stronger than her spiritual power. The world was full of malice. Ning Shu said that life couldn't go on. After a while, the pain of the spiritual backlash disappeared a little, but there was still a faint pain. The physical pain was nothing, but the spiritual pain was real pain. Ning Shu picked up the AI on the ground and didn't dare to release his spiritual power to investigate. If the AI's counterattack was too strong, it would be enough to break her spiritual ball. If the spiritual power was weak, even the AI would bully it. But to increase the spiritual power, one had to rely on self-abuse to attack the spiritual ball. This kind of pain was too painful. It was enough to deprive the soul of power. The pain was still fresh in the memory. To make oneself suffer again and again, the person who could do it was quite ruthless. Only by being ruthless to oneself could one succeed. Ning Shu felt that it was better to slow down the stimulation of the spiritual ball and comprehend the spatial laws first. When he comprehended the spatial laws, not only could he build spatial passages, but he could also kill spatial wind blades, spatial storms, and kill enemies with a raise of his hand. That was quite relaxed and leisurely. This was a high-end fighting method. As for the 7 Injures Fist, which relied on physical combat and injury for injury, Ning Shu didn't even need to use it now. After mastering high-end fighting methods, he felt much more relaxed, but it was also quite difficult to comprehend. To comprehend the laws, one had to rely on oneself. It wasn't good to rely on others. Ning Shu was about to go to the spatial city when the Chongsam man sent a message saying that the law incarnations were having a gathering and asked if she wanted to go. A gathering of law incarnations? Was there such an event? Ning Shu had never heard of such a gathering. It was rare to see mission enforcers and big shots gather together to drink and sing. The law incarnations were so free that they actually had a party. Although there was tension in any work and relaxation in work, Ning Shu had never participated in a mission enforcer gathering. The law incarnations couldn't be compared to those big shots who picked up trash, but they were still very powerful compared to ordinary mission enforcers. Ning Shu asked directly, "It's really a simple gathering. Did something happen?" The Chongsam man asked, "Are you coming?" Ning Shu asked, "You're telling me secretly. Are you planning something?" She always felt that these law incarnations wouldn't gather for no reason. Even if they were gathering, there should be a reason for them to gather. The Chongsam man said, "You're quite sharp." She had almost been tricked not long ago. Now she was vigilant. Ning Shu asked, "Tell me, what do the law incarnations want?" The Chongsam man said, "Guess, it has something to do with you." Ning Shu was stunned for a moment. If it has something to do with me, could it be that something happened to Water City this time and those law incarnations are thinking about it? She was fined 1,000,000 merit points and had to work for another 100 years for nothing. Why would these people still think about her? The Chongsam man's tone was a little gloating. Because you're not qualified to be the city lord, they think you should be stripped of the city lord medal. You're the city lord of 2 law cities. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. She was just sitting at home, yet trouble came from the heavens. To put it bluntly, she was jealous. The problem was, what was there to be jealous about? She had to work for 200 years for nothing. Ning Shu asked, "How are they going to deal with me?" I only have 2 law imprints. If I hand them over, there won't be enough for so many people. The Cheongsam man said, of course there's a way to divide them. Actually, they're not convinced. After making such a big mistake, they were let off lightly. Many people are not convinced. So what if they're not convinced? Go to the grand uncle or the main system. She was so busy. /BK. Chapter 2780. Reading on the phone. She was probably not very sociable and was more of an anomaly. The law incarnations probably wanted to get rid of her. Besides, it seemed like the taxes in her hands were very attractive. Ning Shu crossed her legs. Then how do they plan to deal with me? Are they going to protest the organization's decision or threaten me to hand over the water and wood law imprint? She probably didn't have much of a presence. After the incident with Hongyu, Ning Shu basically didn't want to deal with law incarnations. Firstly, there was no conflict. Secondly, there were too many things to do and he didn't have time to interact with law incarnations. She didn't expect that the law incarnations would want to kill her. The Cheongsam man said, we'll jointly write a letter to the main system expressing our doubts about the main system's punishment and review results. Hundreds of law incarnations had jointly written a letter. Ning Shu sat steadily. They can go ahead and jointly write a letter. I don't care. The Cheongsam man said, compared to hundreds of people, you're obviously not worth enough. Besides, with so many people writing a letter, the organization still has to take it seriously. Ning Shu just smiled. These people probably didn't see the organization's nature clearly. Putting aside whether she could really get the organization to let her go, this matter was already decided. Now, they were still coming out to say that they were questioning the organization's decision. They definitely wouldn't set such a precedent. If they wanted to overturn the previous decision with just a few hundred people, it would be a slap to the organization's face. This organization was not a democratic organization. The organization, I don't care about my face. Secondly, the law incarnations overestimated themselves. Even if a few law incarnations died, as long as there was a law imprint, anyone could become a law incarnation. The law imprint was important. As for who the incarnation was, it didn't matter at all because anyone could become a law incarnation. Becoming a law incarnation could obtain the law's recognition through one's own comprehension and become a law incarnation. Secondly, obtaining the law imprint would allow one to reach the heavens in one step. Obviously, someone wanted to reach the heavens in one step and directly obtain her imprint to become a law incarnation. Moreover, now that his water law and life law had fused together, she would not hand it over even if she died. Ning Shu said to the man in the Cheongsam, I won't go to your party. If I go, how are you going to discuss it? If you want to submit a joint petition, then go. Do whatever you want. Even if the organization really wanted to punish her for taking advantage of the opportunity to make money, she had one exemption. Immunity was a reward after the war. Every living law incarnation had one. Could it be that these people had forgotten? If he could apply to punish her once, would he be able to apply for a second and third punishment? Organization, I don't care about my reputation. In short, Ning Shu was certain that his life was not in danger and would not be obliterated. There was also the 9-Palace Mountain and the world of reincarnation. These things were enough to keep her alive. Even if the organization wanted to punish him, it would probably be to pick up trash. This feeling of not dying is really good. The Cheongsam man, are you that fearless? Ning Shu said, if you tell me the news, those law incarnations won't let you go. Be careful. Ning Shu felt that the silver-haired man was indeed from the same trench. He would inform her whenever something happened. Yes, they were really good sisters. The Cheongsam man, if you become my girlfriend, I can provide you with more inside information. How about it? It's a good deal, right? Girlfriend? For a coward like the Cheongsam man, when he entered, you had to enter too. He was instantly scared. Okay, what inside information can you tell me? Who was the one who started this? The Cheongsam man, you're selling yourself for some inside information. Do you have any integrity? I knew you would be scared. Ning Shu smiled knowingly, revealing a mysterious smile like that of an auntie. Who started it? This could not have been done without someone's organization. And there were hundreds of people. The distribution of benefits was also very confusing. The plan would be aborted if they were not careful. Jealousy alone was not enough to make them spend so much effort. There must be someone behind her. The Cheongsam man said, the first person to talk about this was the Law of Earth Incarnation. When you became the Law of Water Incarnation, he was managing the city of water and all the taxes went into his pocket. After you became the Law of Water Incarnation, he no longer had a share in the taxes. Plus, you're actually quite eye-catching this time. If not for the fact that we're all souls, people would think that you've sold yourself. Ning Shu was speechless. What a great imagination. She did not expect that even though she was no longer a law incarnation, the world was still full of legends about her. Ning Shu thought about it. Someone deliberately provoked dissatisfaction with her, and then it developed to the point of being attacked by a group. She had blocked the law incarnation group. Of course, she would not look at the news. She did not expect such a surprise. Only a mediocre person would not be envied. So go ahead. I don't care. Ning Shu expressed her gratitude to the Cheongsam man and invited him to a meal when she was free. The Cheongsam man was actually a little afraid of the world being in chaos. Now that things had developed to this point, he reminded her as if he was watching a good show. This guy was secretly watching a good show. Ning Shu closed the chat system. Was the law incarnation the only one who wanted to cause trouble? Perhaps there was someone behind the law incarnation. The law incarnation was actually a gun used to deal with her. If something happened to her, of course, it would be good. If nothing happened, the person behind it would not matter. There were many people in the organization, and each of them had their own thoughts. However, under the premise that it did not interfere with the organization turned a blind eye to small fights. The organization only cared about driving the ship forward. It was safe. They did not care what the people on the ship were thinking. Moreover, they could not control their thoughts. However, if someone wanted to destroy the ship, this would not do. For example, the fights between the mission enforcers did not interfere with the organization. Organization, it's none of my business even if you kill them. This was a little fucking interesting. Strictly speaking, Ning Shu rarely had conflicts with the people in the organization. Other than the incident with Hong Yu and the subsequent events, she basically did not interact with anyone else. She should be considered half a loner. She might be thought of as a soft persimmon that could be pinched. Also, the things on her were too tempting. Children making trouble in the market. Was it the incident with Hong Yu? At that time, she had offended two people. The malicious young master Rong Hua and Wen Yan. Was it these two people? Hong Yu was already dead. Other than these two people, Ning Shu could not think of anyone else. As for the others, Ning Shu nodded to them. As for the big shots that she knew, they did not seem like people who would do such a thing. This book came from translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Chapter 2781. Ning Shu was thinking about who was behind the law incarnation. The law incarnation wanted to cause trouble for no reason. How should he deal with this matter? Of course, he couldn't just let it go. If he let it go like this, then anyone could implicate ordinary people in the future and write a joint petition to kill her. Ning Shu asked the Cheongsam man, "Where are you? Since it's about me, how can I not be there?" The Cheongsam man said, "Oh, you really want to come? Hundreds of people are fighting against you. If you become my girlfriend, I'll help you." Ning Shu felt that the Cheongsam man had selectively forgotten something. Hadn't she already agreed to be his girlfriend? Why was he asking now? When someone else replied, he immediately chickened out. Not long after, he brought up the matter of asking her to be his girlfriend again. How cowardly was he? If he was really so cowardly, then don't mention it. Anyway, Ning Shu had never seen such a conflicted person. When he saw a girl and asked if she wanted to be his girlfriend, the normal girl's reaction would be to scold him and say, "Are you crazy?" He only dared to flirt but didn't dare to really do it. There was no one else like him. Ning Shu said, "Do you really want me to be your girlfriend?" Okay, where is the gathering? The Cheongsam man said, "We're in my restaurant now. Do I look easy to bully? Or do those people think that I've already joined the team? Why are they so impolite? How dare they discuss these things in front of me so casually? Do they think that I won't betray them because I'm the law incarnation?" Ning Shu smiled and said, "Of course they think that you won't betray them because this is a good thing for the law incarnation. Even if you don't join them, you won't betray them. Be honest, have you already betrayed the law incarnation group?" The Cheongsam man couldn't help but snort. "Don't label me. I've already said what team I'm from. It's not that they think too highly of themselves." Ning Shu picked up the black bone umbrella. The surface of the umbrella had turned white and the dirt on it had been cleaned. Fortunately, it had been cleaned. Otherwise, if he appeared in front of the enemy with a dirty umbrella, he wouldn't look imposing. Image was also a necessity in battle. Ning Shu appeared in the Time City. Actually, the Time City had already reached its limit. The number of people was already full. Although it was full, there were still many mission givers who wanted to enter the Time City. Oh, this matter shouldn't have caused a ruckus. Otherwise, why would there be so many people watching the show? Ning Shu discovered that nomological incarnations were indeed quite troublesome. Last time, this time, she was still the fuse. What else could Ning Shu say? He could only say that disaster had descended from the heavens. Last time, everyone was punished for the accident, and she almost lost her life. At that time, he was not strong enough. He had no choice but to endure it. This time, it actually came again. This time, I had to endure it. It's a waste of me being so tired every day. He was as tired as a dog, yet he still had to be treated as a fat lamb. She was clearly a diligent little scalper, okay? The Time City was full. Luckily, Ning Shu was the city lord and could enter any city he wanted without any restrictions. The city lord medal also represented a bit of privilege and uniqueness. All of them wanted the things in her hands. Usually, she didn't do anything special, other than picking up trash, doing missions, and taking care of her own world. She didn't have much interaction with these people, but they could all target her. Why didn't she ask the Cheongsam man to hand over the nomological imprint? She didn't dare. The Cheongsam man had accumulated a lot of power among the nomological incarnations. Ning Shu held the black bone umbrella and walked towards the restaurant step by step. There were many people at the entrance of the restaurant. They were all mission givers who were here to watch the show. Even if they had become souls, the curiosity in their bones couldn't be changed. Moreover, the life of a mission giver was quite boring. Now that there was a good show to watch, they all rushed to the Time City. Ning Shu looked at these people and couldn't help but frown. How did the news spread so quickly? Was she the last person to know? She's here. Is she the nomological incarnation of water and wood? Isn't she courting death by coming at this time? It's a woman. When the surrounding people saw Ning Shu, they all whispered to each other and made a path. Ning Shu held the umbrella and walked in front of these people. Probably because of the nomological imprint of wood and life, when Ning Shu walked in front of them, they felt an indescribable sense of comfort. It was as comfortable as a spring breeze caressing their faces. The tiredness in their souls slowly disappeared. There was an indescribable sense of comfort. There was no fragrance, but it made them feel relaxed. Everyone sighed in their hearts. It was indeed the nomological imprint of wood. It was full of vitality. They could feel the energy and comfort of the nomological imprint of wood just by walking past it. If they had the nomological imprint of wood, it would be a great thing. It wasn't that the soul didn't feel tired. It was just that compared to the physical body, it wasn't easy for the soul to feel tired. However, as a soul that once had a physical body, it would sometimes feel tired after a long time. Ning Shu walked to the entrance of the restaurant without a change in her expression. She closed the umbrella and walked in. In the main hall of the restaurant, hundreds of people were squeezing the restaurant to the point of bursting. When Ning Shu walked in, the originally bustling restaurant quietened down. Absolute silence. Hundreds of eyes were cast on Ning Shu. They were like rays, sizing up Ning Shu from head to toe. Ning Shu grunted and said directly, "Do what you have to do. Don't worry about me." When the Cheongsam man saw Ning Shu, he opened his fan. Ning Shu walked over to the Cheongsam man. No one said a word. Ning Shu sat opposite the Cheongsam man and ordered some tea and pastries. Seeing that these people were still staring at him, he said, "Why are you looking at me? Do what you have to do. Don't worry about me." Everyone, fuck, so arrogant. Aren't you afraid that you will be killed after you submit a joint petition? The originally quiet restaurant became noisy again. People were whispering and whispering to each other. Their eyes were filled with fear and dissatisfaction when they looked at Ning Shu. The Cheongsam man fanned himself leisurely. "You've become prettier. Why did you change your clothes again?" Ning Shu raised her arm and drank from her teacup. "I like it." The Cheongsam man smiled. "How does it feel to be hated and condemned by so many people?" Ning Shu spread her hands. "I don't feel anything. These people have nothing to do with me. I don't feel anything. I even feel like laughing." These people were not people she cared about. Why would she make herself suffer because of their hostility and malice? "Sorry, I won't reflect on why I'm in trouble. I only know that I didn't provoke you, but you provoked me." Ning Shu glanced at them from the corner of her eyes. There were many nomological avatars here. However, there were some nomological avatars that were rarely seen. Chapter 2782. For example, he hadn't met the law of space incarnation yet. But the law of space incarnation was still alive. This time, Awan didn't come over. Ning Shu wanted to talk to Awan and chat with her. The law of space incarnation had some new members. After the war, at least half of the law of space incarnation died on the battlefield. Naturally, there were people to fill the empty positions. Ning Shu saw a few girls. The girls were sizing up Ning Shu. They avoided Ning Shu's gaze. Ning Shu retracted his gaze. Everyone had a herd mentality. For example, the law of space incarnation wanted to do something that everyone supported. But if someone disagreed or objected, they would be despised, alienated, and targeted by the majority. In order to avoid being targeted, they could only blend in with the crowd. They were afraid that they would be targeted as well. Targeting and bullying was the majority against the minority. If a classmate was hated by the majority, then this classmate wouldn't have any friends. Because they became friends with her, they would be targeted. No one liked to be isolated and targeted. If you didn't want to be targeted, you could only stand with the majority. Ning Shu wanted to sigh. Why were there so many girls involved? At this time, he should be doing missions to avoid such things. Because there were no benefits. Bravely rejecting was a virtue. Even if he couldn't reject, he could find a reason. Was it good to target someone he didn't know for no reason? Ning Shu gently lifted the skirt of his leg with 2 fingers, then crossed his legs and asked, "Have you discussed it?" The law of space incarnation was a man. He was slightly chubby and smiled. He seemed to have a good temper. For mission enforcers, one must not look at their appearance. This was because mission enforcers had experienced a lot. They had done missions time and time again, seen things and experienced many things. Actually, we are all law of space incarnations. There's no need to be so ruthless. Okay, get to the point. I don't like to hear such words. Remember that you were the one who led this matter. You became the bad guy and now you want to be the good guy. You're so good at acting. Ning Shu directly interrupted the law of space incarnation. You're not polite to me, so how can I be polite to you? The Cheongsam man beside him fanned himself and watched the show with a smile. After losing face in front of so many people, Earth Law's expression turned ugly, and the smile on his face gradually disappeared. As a law incarnation, you're not qualified at all. You almost destroyed the law city under your command. The law incarnation is responsible for the safety of the law city. Your actions are unworthy of being the city lord. When the embodiment of the law of Earth said this, everyone else had a look of agreement on their faces. Even the mission enforcers outside the restaurant had a look of approval on their faces. After all, they had entered the law city to comprehend the laws. They did not want the law city to suddenly be destroyed by the laws, and then they would be buried in the law city. Not even a speck of dust was left. It was the city lord's fault for not being able to guarantee his life. The man in the Cheongsam chuckled. You're in trouble. He has a good reason to attack. When two countries were at war, they still had to find a reason to fight so that they could have a foothold. This was the will of the heavens. The words of the law of earth incarnation directly placed Ning Shu on the opposite side of most people. Ning Shu spread his hands, smiled, and said indifferently, whether I'm qualified to be the city lord or not, it's up to the organization to decide. It's not up to you to say that I'm not qualified. That's why we have to write a joint letter to have the organization put you on trial again. If you hand over the law imprint and the city lord medal, we won't write a joint letter. The law of earth incarnation said, and the other law incarnations echoed, yes, yes. Ning Shu's expression was somewhat inexplicable as he looked at the group of law incarnations. Is there something wrong with your brains? Everyone is a law incarnation, and one law incarnation escaped the fate of being obliterated. Shouldn't you be happy? You're clearly adding shackles to your own bodies. Oh, they had to do well, and they had to write a joint letter to request for the law incarnation to be put on trial again. In that case, the requirements for law incarnations would be even higher in the future. If they wanted to punish law incarnations in the future, what kind of benefits could make these people lose their minds to this point? They were basically shooting themselves in the foot. Did they think that the punishment for their mistakes was not severe enough? The law of earth incarnation sneered, we've been diligently managing the city of law, not daring to relax for a moment, but you made such a mistake. You're an embarrassment to the law incarnations. It's already like this, and we still haven't asked you to hand over the city lord medal and let someone capable manage the city of law. Occupying the latrine but not taking a shit. If you hand over the city lord medal and the law imprint, we won't write a joint letter. Ning Shu sneered, if I ask you to die, would you be willing? The law of earth incarnation's expression turned ugly. Why should I die? Then why should I hand over the law imprint and the city lord medal? Whether I can be the city lord or not is not up to you. Ning Shu directly said, it doesn't matter. You can write a joint letter. Don't be polite and don't care about me. Everyone looked at Ning Shu's expression, which was like a dead pig crawling in boiling water, and they were furious. They all used their own systems to request for a new punishment for the city lord of Waterwood City. After writing a joint letter, they waited for the results of the main system's processing. Ning Shu picked up a teacup and drank tea, looking relaxed and calm. The others were anxiously waiting for the results of the main system. Seeing Ning Shu like this, they were very angry. She was the one to judge, but they were so anxious that they couldn't sit still. Some of the law incarnations inevitably had thoughts of retreating, but now they were riding a tiger and couldn't get off. If they left halfway, they would definitely be laughed at, and both sides wouldn't be human. Since they had already offended the law of Waterwood incarnation, in order to ensure that they wouldn't retaliate in the future, they could only offend her to death. The Cheongsam man Ning Shu asked, what cards do you have? Ning Shu smiled slightly. I won't die from killing someone. At most, she would be punished. Even if she was punished today, she couldn't let this matter go. If she didn't find trouble with others shouldn't think of finding trouble with her. Before finding trouble with her, they had to see if she was easy to bully. Previously, they had encountered robbing the law imprint, and now it had developed into robbing the law imprint and the city lord medal. Alright, let's have some fun. Ding dong. Everyone's chat system rang. When they opened it, they saw that it was a message from the main system. The main system said 2 words, rejected. Rejected? Did it mean that the organization wouldn't punish her again? This was too embarrassing. Ning Shu smiled slightly. Actually, you can apply again. The law incarnation's expression was a bit ugly. Hundreds of people had applied, but the main system directly rejected them. 2 words, rejected. There wasn't even a reason. /BK. Chapter 2783. It was too depressing. At this moment, these law incarnations were like pitiful commoners, feeling powerless in the face of power. They felt especially wronged. Why didn't they see the joint letter from so many people? Was the organization trying to cover for her? This was unfair, unfair. Hundreds of people stared at Ning Shu with hatred. Ning Shu sat steadily. What's there to feel wronged about? You guys were the ones who wanted to snatch it first, so what's there to feel wronged about? So what if you have more people? I'm weak and I'm in the right. That's pretty much the last fig leaf. If I'm weak, you should give in to me. If I'm weak, you're strong. You're bullying me. Ning Shu closed his eyes slightly, enjoying these gazes. The law incarnation of Earth began a second joint letter. He did not believe that the organization would ignore it if he repeated it repeatedly. The Cheongsam man fanned himself as he watched the farce. He asked Ning Shu in a good mood, "What did you do to make them hate you so much?" Wealth moves people's hearts. Plus, you're feeling wronged now. Don't look at me like that. I'm afraid these people don't know that my 2 law cities haven't had any taxes for 200 years. Even if I snatched it, they're working for nothing. Of course, she would not let anyone snatch her things. Once the law imprint left her, she would die. Only when the previous law incarnation died would a new law incarnation be born. The Cheongsam man was speechless. Who do you think is behind this? The Cheongsam man's information network was quite wide. He definitely wanted to find out who was behind this. He did not know what kind of scoundrel it was. The Cheongsam man shook his head. After the second joint letter, everyone anxiously waited for the organization's reply. If it did not work, then they would keep on visiting. Even if they had to be lazy, they had to let the organizations see their determination. Ning Shu moved his neck. Since I've had enough fun, I don't have so much time to play with you guys. Ning Shu opened his hand. Vines grew out of his palm, and the vines stretched toward the law incarnation of Earth. The law incarnation's expression turned ugly. What are you doing? Are you trying to fight in a law city? It's forbidden to fight in a law city. Ning Shu did not listen at all, and the vines rushed toward him. Facing an attack, there was no reason to just stand there. The embodiment of the law of Earth was like a towering mountain, and it tore the vines that reached over into pieces with its bare hands. The unique characteristic of the laws of Earth was that they were heavy and majestic, capable of bearing all living beings. Wood, on the other hand, was rooted in the soil. Dense vines were about to wrap around his body. The law incarnation was terrified. He never expected that the law incarnation of water and wood would actually make a move. They had always felt that she did not have the guts to make a move, especially in a city of laws. The last time she made a move in a city of laws, she was almost obliterated. Was she not afraid of being obliterated? Seeing the law of Earth's incarnation wrapped up like a dumpling, the surrounding law of Earth's incarnations could not help but distance themselves from it. At this time, whoever went forward would be courting death. Ning Shu stood up and placed the black bone umbrella on the ground. With the tip of the umbrella touching the ground, he walked in front of the law of Earth incarnation. The incarnation of the law of Earth could not move at all. Aside from the vines around him, the space around him had also been sealed, making it impossible for him to move. He didn't expect this woman to know some spatial laws. Ning Shu asked, "Who instigated you to do such a thing, and then you instigated so many people to denounce me?" The law of Earth's incarnation coldly snorted. "No one. It's just that I don't like you. The organization is not as fair and just as you think." Ning Shu clicked his tongue twice. "Oh, if the organization punished me according to your request, would that be fair and just?" Ding dong, the chat system notification rang out. Everyone received a reply for the second time. The main system was still concise with a single word. Rejected. The law of Earth's incarnation's expression was somewhat indescribable. He was so indignant that he wanted nothing more than to commit suicide to complain about the injustice of this world. Ning Shu shrugged. Was this guy stupid? Why would he bring up something that happened so long ago? How interesting. Ning Shu's vines reached the law of Earth's incarnation's wrist. There was a brown mountain on his wrist. This was the law of Earth's imprint. The tip of the vines became extremely sharp and pierced into the soul of the law of Earth's incarnation, trying to dig out the law of Earth's imprint. "Ah, what are you doing? You want to steal my law of Earth's imprint? You're shameless." The law of Earth's incarnation's voice was filled with fear. He kept shaking his body while simultaneously stimulating the power of the law of Earth's imprint. His soul became larger and larger, and the vines wrapped around his body were torn apart. However, even more vines wrapped around his body. Moreover, the tip of the vines pierced deeply into his wrist, trying to dig out the law of Earth's imprint. Law of water and wood, you've gone too far. Aren't you afraid of the organization's punishment? The law of Earth's incarnation was flustered and exasperated. He was trapped in a space, and the space was frozen. He had no way to break out, and the people around him could not enter. No one could help him. Rather than punishment, I'd rather see you lose your law of Earth's imprint. Since you want to steal my law of Earth's imprint, I can also steal yours, Ning Shu said indifferently. After obtaining a law of Earth's imprint, Ning Shu felt that he could accept any punishment other than being obliterated. The law of Earth's incarnation's expression was ugly. The other law of Earth's incarnations were trembling with fear. You can't do that. This is a law city. Fighting is prohibited. You're knowingly breaking the law. Aren't you afraid that the organization will punish you? The other law of Earth's incarnations shouted at Ning Shu, but no one dared to step forward. What if they were entangled by the vines and had their law of Earth's imprint taken away? The law city's taxes were the bulk of their income. Without the imprint, they would lose their lives, and they would not owe anything. They would have nothing left. Ning Shu smiled. If I wasn't brave enough, my law of Earth's imprint would have been snatched away by you. In any case, if I'm having a hard time, everyone will have a hard time together. Wait, let me make it clear in advance. Who will be responsible for breaking the things in my restaurant? The man in the Cheongsam closed his folding fan and asked, Who will be responsible for the losses? We agreed not to fight in my territory. Ning Shu said, Of course, we'll split it evenly. Everyone. Split your head? You were the one who started it, so why should we split it evenly? Ugh. The law of Earth's incarnation cried out in pain. To have his law of Earth's imprint taken away from him was as painful as having a piece of flesh ripped out of his body. Let go of the law of Earth's incarnation first. If there's anything, we can talk about it slowly. Out of self-preservation, these people could not just stand by and watch Ning Shu kill the law of Earth's incarnation. Ning Shu smiled and did not stop. Instead, he sped up. If nothing unexpected happened, the organization would soon find out about the commotion here. Since she was going to be punished anyway, she had to get something out of it. /BK. Chapter 2784. The law imprint of the Earth Law incarnation had to be taken. A mark floated out. Ning Shu quickly grabbed the law of Earth imprint and fused it into her body without even thinking about it. As long as it merged with her body, the law imprint would be hers. If she wanted to take it out, she would have to kill her. Ning Shu was now gambling. Gambling on whether she had value and whether she would be abandoned. Soon, a brown mountain-shaped imprint appeared on her wrist. Ning Shu smiled faintly and snatched one. Fortunately, water, earth, and wood were not so incompatible. If it was a fire law imprint, she would not have merged it with her body. That was because water and fire were incompatible, and the wood law imprint was afraid of fire. Everyone looked at the bandit Ning Shu in shock. The Earth Law incarnation's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Ning Shu in horror. His soul was dissipating because Ning Shu had become the new Earth Law incarnation. The previous one should disappear. The law imprint had a bad temper and could only allow one to exist. In fact, a law incarnation was not noble at all. It was just an incarnation. Just from the name, one could tell that it was a law incarnation. You, the surrounding people gasped. Damn, they were here to suppress her, but the Earth Law incarnation was destroyed. She brazenly took away someone else's law imprint in front of so many people. At the same time, these people quickly became excited. Since it was like this, the organization would definitely punish her. She now had 3 law imprints. As long as this person died, the 3 law imprints on her body would be in a popular law city with a lot of people. You will die a horrible death. You will die a horrible death. The Earth Law incarnation. No, It should be the former Earth Law incarnation, stared at Ning Shu with resentment. His soul was getting weaker and weaker, and it was about to disappear. Very good, very good, very good. Grand Uncle, who had rushed over, had a gloomy expression. Seeing that the Earth Law incarnation's soul was about to dissipate, he collected the dissipating soul power. His expression was extremely ugly. With a black hole behind him, he looked around at the people present. He raised his gun and fired a few shots. Several Law incarnations were bounced off, and their faces showed despair and helplessness. The Law imprints on their bodies floated out. The Grand Elder's face was gloomy as he crushed several Law imprints, causing everyone's hearts to ache. The few nomological avatars leading the way were destroyed, and the Grand Elder aimed his gun at Ning Shu. What the hell? The Grand Elder fired a shot at Ning Shu. His face was ugly. Obviously, he was angry with Ning Shu's behavior. The black bullet was extremely fast. It passed through layers of space and shot towards Ning Shu. She was almost unable to move. The bullet brushed past Ning Shu's earlobe. In an instant, Ning Shu's soul became weak, but it did not disappear. After taking away 3/4 of her soul energy, her soul had become transparent and could be blown away by the wind. Ning Shu just smiled. Of course, she knew that her actions were provocative. The Grand Elder sneered. Do you really think I can't touch you? If there's a next time, I'll kill you. Your reliance can be taken away in an instant. A small lousy world, destroyed. So many worlds were destroyed every day. What was a small lousy world? The Grand Elder's face was particularly ugly and cold. The gun in his hand trembled slightly. Obviously, he still wanted to kill. As for you people who participated in this matter, 100 years of taxes will be deducted. If you're not convinced, you can file a complaint. As a result, another 100 years of taxes will be deducted. If they complained, they would be punished in advance. Everyone was speechless. They were clearly not allowed to complain. The hundreds of nomological avatars had ugly expressions. How much was 100 years of taxes? 100 years? They would not get anything. Instead, they would lose 100 years of taxes. 100 years of taxes was enough to break the hearts of the nomological avatars. However, the few leading nomological avatars were already dead. Who could pay for this loss? Moreover, the promised benefits were gone. And you, 1 million. The Grand Elder looked at her coldly. Ning Shu was speechless. 1 million. Of course, what did this 1 million mean? Every time she picked up trash, others picked up 100,000, but she picked up 1 million. Ning Shu's soul was so weak that it was almost transparent, but she still sat down and asked indifferently, what about the time limit? It can't always be 1 million. I can't do it. The time limit will wait for the organization's notice. The Grand Elder disappeared in a flash. As soon as the judge left, the scene was silent for a while. Everyone looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled and said, My soul is very weak now. If you want to cause trouble, do it as soon as possible. I won't wait for you later. However, no one dared to go. They all looked at Ning Shu with disgust. It was all because of her that they had caused such a big trouble and caused everyone to suffer heavy losses. You have to pay for our losses, someone said weakly. Someone in the team said timidly. Once he finished speaking, he hid himself. It was impossible to tell who said it. Pay for your losses? Don't you know that everything has risks? Ning Shu wanted to laugh. She had to pay for her losses. No matter who comes looking for trouble, I'll accompany you to the end. In any case, I don't care. Ning Shu returned to the system space and took out the pure soul power that she had stored before to absorb it. Her soul was so weak that it would be blown away by the wind. The Grand Elder appeared in the dark city. He floated above the city lord's mansion and fired a shot at it. The black bullet shot directly into Wen Yan's heart in the pavilion. Soon, Wen Yan's soul collapsed. The black law imprint floated to his hand and he crushed it. His expression was gloomy and cold. In a flash, he appeared in the broken plane. He walked over to a man and kicked him in the side. Who the fuck kicked the old man? The man who was picking up fragments was furious. When he turned around and saw that it was the Grand Elder, he immediately smiled and said, "Ah, how did you find me so quickly?" The Grand Elder kicked him again. "She's dead. The number of fragments she can pick up is more than yours." The man laughed. "It's just a little joke. You know, when I see such a weak, helpless, and silly child, I can't help but make a little joke. Look at her. She only knows how to pick up trash. So helpless and pitiful." Tisk. The Grand Elder kicked him, causing the man to frown. It was very painful, but he endured it. That weak and helpless child is still alive, right? Did you kill her? It's such a pity. It's such a pity for a child who only knows how to pick up trash. The man smiled mischievously. The Grand Elder was expressionless. "Are you very free? If I don't find something for you to do, you find something for me to do." The man raised his hand. "I admit my mistake. How long do you want me to pick up? I'll do it." The Grand Elder put his gloved hand on the man's shoulder. He squeezed the man until he cried out. At the same time, he absorbed the man's soul power. "Enough, Jeff. How much more do you want to absorb?" The man's expression wasn't good. Anger flashed between his brows, but he endured it. /BK. Chapter 2786. Too many souls were taken away this time, resulting in this situation. Ning Shu lay on the sofa and didn't want to move. She obtained the Earth Law imprint, but the main system wouldn't purify soul stones and soul fluid in the future. What if the world of reincarnation needed a large amount of soul energy? Where would she get it from? Originally, she had stored this soul energy for the world of reincarnation in case one day the soul energy in the rebirth pool wasn't enough to support the world of reincarnation. Now that she used it, what would happen if the world of reincarnation needed soul energy in the future? Ning Shu wiped her face. She was panicking because she didn't have food at home. If something happened, many worlds would be ruined. There was a complete world of reincarnation and so many developing worlds. It wasn't that the organization couldn't do anything to her, but that her hands and feet were tied. She had to rely on the organization to purify soul fluid and soul stones. If she could do it herself, she wouldn't have to worry so much. The organization monopolized the technology. Other than the organization, no one else could do it. She could only look for the organization. Then they would bully the customers. In any case, there were gains and losses in this matter. What made Ning Shu feel the most uncomfortable was that they didn't purify her soul fluid and mixed it with the stones. This might cause problems in the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu thought about it. If the world of reincarnation lacked soul energy, she would have no choice but to place some souls in the rebirth pool. This way, there would be enough soul energy to protect the world of reincarnation. Headache, baldness. Since she provoked someone, she had to bear the consequences. Since she had already done it, there was nothing to regret. But at least she survived and wasn't killed. Most importantly, she didn't want someone to plot against her for no reason in the future. Other than the Earth Law and a few law incarnations, she didn't ask about the person behind this. She was anxious to get the imprint and didn't ask about the person behind this. The clues were cut off just like that. Such a big commotion and a few hundred people were mobilized to deal with her. This person wasn't a small character. There must be benefits that moved the law incarnations. The benefits needed by a few hundred people weren't small. There was clearly someone behind this. Ning Shu thought about it and didn't know who she had offended. Was it someone rich, willful, and capable? If she didn't get to the bottom of this, she wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Ning Shu felt that even if he asked the group of nomological incarnations, he probably would not be able to get anything out of them. After all, the group of nomological incarnations only came into contact with the nomological law of Earth and a few of their leaders. There was no contact at all with the person behind this. Damn, they're really vigilant. Ning Shu felt the hairs on his back stand on end. There was a pair of eyes staring at him, and he even knew that he was not on good terms with the law incarnation, which led to this incident. He felt that this guy was quite scheming. If he didn't show up, the people who charged at the front would definitely be punished and might even be killed. Since he was already dead, There was no need to give him the alluring benefits that he had promised. He didn't give her a single cent and caused such a mess. Those law incarnations really didn't think that the law couldn't punish the majority, right? No, for the organization, the more people there were, the more money there was. They couldn't be bothered to deal with 1 or 2 people, but if there were too many people, they would deal with them all at once. They wouldn't do the same thing twice. Ning Shu stomped his feet in annoyance. He really couldn't think of anyone who wanted to deal with him. Abyssal Prefect? He was so engrossed in planting flowers that he couldn't extricate himself. Senior Uncle? That was impossible. Silver-haired man? Impossible. Although he was a little black-hearted, he was still willing to be slaughtered. Anha? He was already so busy dealing with the military, how could he have the time to care about the disagreements between mission enforcers? Cheongsam man? Impossible. He wouldn't go so far as to flirt everywhere. Besides, Ning Shu felt that he shouldn't have so many resources to plan. Mei Ziqing? He was struggling to build a world. Uncle? He was addicted to making props. These were the people he knew. As for offending anyone, he didn't know. So, who the hell wanted to mess with him? Ning Shu asked 2333. Who do you think is behind this? 2333. How would I know? I don't know anyone. I'm just a person as pure as paper. Pure as paper? Straw paper? 2333. Does it feel good to commit a crime against the wind? Ning Shu nodded. Yes, so good that my whole body is shaking. He was still scared. He wouldn't be able to purify the soul fluid and soul stone in the future. It was too fucking tempting. 2333. Pay more attention to those big shots. It's most likely a big shot who did this. You probably didn't even know who you've offended. Ning Shu really couldn't remember which big shot she had offended, or if she had offended that big shot unintentionally. And why did they target him? What were they after? No one would be so bored as to do this. If it were her, she would definitely go straight to the person involved and deal with it directly. There was no need to go in such a big circle and waste time and effort. It was a waste of energy. It meant that the other party didn't want her to know about his existence. Pay attention to the big shots. There were so many big shots and they were picking up garbage in batches. There were too many of them. And when she was picking up garbage, she basically didn't talk to these big shots. Other than those she was familiar with, she basically didn't talk to anyone. Ning Shu was too lazy to think about it. In any case, he couldn't remember who did this at all. He would definitely jump out in the future. She would definitely know. It was just that there was someone secretly staring at her, which made her especially unhappy. He was like a poisonous snake hiding in the grass, who knew when he would jump out and bite her. This was a very bad feeling. If she found out who it was, she would kill that person. It didn't make sense that she had to endure it when others were bullying her. Ning Shu sighed. He felt that this was an unexpected disaster. Ding dong. The chat system rang. Ning Shu didn't want to look at the message at all. In the past, the chat system basically didn't ring, but now it was ringing. Could this be considered a delightful trouble? Ning Shu opened the chat system and found that it was a message from a law incarnation. The tone was very bad, and it was all insulting words. He said that Ning Shu was a jinx and wanted to compensate for their losses. Ning Shu, what the hell? They were looking for her to compensate for their losses. Shouldn't these people look for the person who led them to do this? But the leaders were all killed. They were dead. No one was looking for her, so they came looking for her. These people were probably confused by their anger and vented their anger on her. Moreover, she wasn't the one who started this from the beginning to the end. They only wanted benefits and didn't want to take any risks. How could there be such a good thing? Dream on. Ning Shu, I'll compensate for your losses. Sure. What kind of law incarnation are you? Let's fight. Anyway, I've already killed an Earth law incarnation. One more doesn't matter. The other party was speechless for a long time. Ning Shu directly blacklisted the other party and opened the Law Incarnations group. Many Law Incarnations were crusading against her, condemning her in speech and writing. It was very intense. Obviously, she had become an anomaly among the human Law Incarnations. The matter this time made Ning Shu offend several hundred people all at once. Since they couldn't find trouble with the grand uncle, they could only look for Ning Shu. Chapter 2787. There were also people who lamented that Ning Shu was not responsible at all as the city lord and had even broken the barrier of the law cities. Now that he had 3 law imprints on him, they were deeply worried about these 3 law cities. Another accident might happen. These words were indeed sour, but many people agreed. Ning Shu was now a useless ado who was still occupying the throne and enjoying the glory. It wasn't that these law incarnations didn't understand that they were in the wrong, but 100 years of taxes was enough to make people feel heartache. 100 years, it was suffocating and suffocating. Ordinary humans were considered to have lived a long life if they lived to 100 years old. They didn't have to pay taxes for 100 years and only relied on doing missions to earn some merit, but they also had to tighten their belts. Moreover, 100 years of work was for nothing. Whether they had money or not, they had to do things well. If anything happened to the law cities, they had to be responsible. But they didn't have a single cent or any merit. And they couldn't appeal. Once they appealed, no matter what the outcome was, they would first have to pay another 100 years of taxes. They could only hold it in. It made people angry and sad. How could they not resent Ning Shu, the main culprit? Moreover, he had killed the Earth Law incarnation and snatched the Earth Law imprint, but he wasn't killed and was even let go. On this side, he had killed several Law incarnations, and even the Law imprint had been crushed by the judge. Looking at the angry Law incarnations in the group, Ning Shu's heart didn't waver. She was getting further and further away from this group of people, and it was impossible for them to coexist peacefully in the future. Anyway, they couldn't be together, so the possibility of becoming friends was very small. Not to mention being friends, they were all scowling at each other when they saw each other. After all, the loss of 100 years of taxes was on her. With such a large group of enemies, Ning Shu took it very seriously. But she wouldn't take it seriously. It would be fine if she just let it go, but if they came looking for trouble in the future, she definitely wouldn't be soft-hearted. Ding dong, the chat system rang. Ning Shu flipped the page and saw that it was a message from the grand uncle, telling her to pick up trash. Ning Shu replied expressionlessly, "Sorry, my soul is too weak now. I can't pick it up." Her soul could be blown away by the wind, so how could she pick up trash? If that was the case, then so be it, but the main system didn't mention anything about pure soul stones and soul fluid. Ning Shu was very unhappy. This was clearly targeting him. "Grand uncle, don't you want to know who caused this?" Of course he did. Ning Shu picked up the black bone umbrella and walked into the spatial tunnel, arriving at a place filled with fragments. There were so many fragments floating around. How many planes had been shattered? Moreover, there were so many soldiers with guns gathered around. They were densely packed together. At a glance, there were definitely more than 100,000 of them. But why were there so many soldiers guarding this place when the plane was broken? Ning Shu saw that He's body was covered in blood. Souls did not have blood. What was he doing? What's going on? Ning Shu asked. A planar war has broken out. An advanced civilization wants to break through the realm and invade other realms. He's tone was filled with killing intent. This kind of advanced civilization was considered to have developed technology to the extreme, using technology to obtain great power. Wanting to fly out of the control of heaven and earth and invade other worlds was a very normal thing. Destroy the entire plane? If not, keep it for dinner. If I don't do it in one go, do I have to worry about this every day? Directly destroying a plane, along with the living beings and technological crystallization inside. This kind of situation was relatively extreme. The organization took the initiative to destroy the plane. They did not even have the slightest tolerance for the living beings in the plane. They were ruthless. No wonder there were so many fragments floating around. Obviously, more than one plane had been destroyed. Ning Shu took the bag and began to pick up the trash. 1 million. She was going to be wasted. Her soul was not as strong as before. But the number had increased tenfold. Ning Shu looked around but did not see Grand Uncle. Didn't he say that he would tell her about the person behind the scenes? It turned out that he had tricked her here. Ning Shu resigned herself to her fate as she dragged her bag to pick up the trash. Now, star stones didn't interest Ning Shu at all. Boring, boring. She did not expect that the organization would take drastic measures and not purify her soul fluid and soul stone. Letting her soul hang like this, it was not strong, but it would not be blown away by the wind. 1,000,000 fragments, 100,000 to pick up 5 bags. 1,000,000 meant she had to pick up 50 bags. What a suffocating number. Just thinking about it made her desperate. Ning Shu picked up the trash faster and left after picking it up. She was probably the last person in this batch. No, by the time the next batch of people changed shifts, she might not have picked up enough. She wanted the horse to run, but she also wanted the horse not to eat grass. The horse chose to die. If this went on, she would die of exhaustion. After a while, Grand-uncle came. Ning Shu immediately dragged the bag to him and asked, "Who did this?" She was about to see her enemy. She was so excited that her whole body trembled. Grand-uncle pointed to a person, a man. Ning Shu tilted her head and looked at the man who was picking up the trash. She did not know him. She had never spoken to this man. Why would he do such a thing? Ning Shu asked suspiciously, "Really? This kind of thing could not be joked about." Ning Shu could not do such a thing, especially when the other party was a big boss. She would not offend him if she could. "Grand-uncle, it's him. As for the reason, ask him yourself." Ning Shu thought for a while, dragged the bag and walked towards the man. She swung the trash bag in her hand and directly smashed it on him. The man was caught off guard and staggered. When he looked back and saw Ning Shu, he actually smiled. "Ah, Grand-uncle told you, right? Why did you come to me so soon?" "Ning Shu, what grudge do I have with you? Why are you targeting me? Have I ever offended you?" Ning Shu dared to pat her chest and guarantee that she had nothing to do with this man. But she did not know why he was spending so much effort to deal with her. The man smiled and said, "You didn't offend me." "Ning Shu, fuck, this guy is crazy." "Then why are you targeting me?" The man shook his head. "I'm targeting you. There's no such thing. I'm just saying hello to the little one." Ning Shu wanted to scratch her head. Why did she feel like a chicken talking to a duck? And he did not feel guilty, ashamed, guilty, or disgusted at all. Not a trace of it. "Why are you doing this?" The man touched his chin with his finger. "Why am I doing this? It's nothing. I just think it's fun." "Fun? I heard you snatched the Earth Law imprint. Are you happy?" Ning Shu, "Oh my God, this guy must be crazy. It doesn't make sense." The man reached out and wanted to rub Ning Shu's hair, but Ning Shu slapped his hand away. Psst. Chapter 2788. She was here to question him. Why did he think that she was here to chat? The man looked at his hand and was in a daze. He asked, "Don't you think that the people in this organization are sick?" Ning Shu was speechless. "You're the one who's sick." He couldn't afford to offend him. He was a lunatic. The longer he lived, the crazier he became. No one could be so bored. He should be allowed to pick up trash until he died. Ning Shu asked coldly, "Why are you doing this?" "Do I need a reason?" "I do it because I want to. Actually, I've been waiting for the organization to fall apart. Why won't the organization be finished? It's so annoying to guard these lousy planes every day. I really want to destroy all these toys." "Do you feel that way?" Ning Shu was speechless. "Not at all. I don't know what you're talking about." Ning Shu was speechless. She thought that she had offended some big shot. Now, it seemed that he was someone who liked to play with people like toys. She happened to catch this person's eye and was played around with. She didn't know what this man was thinking, but she really wanted to tear this damn man apart like a toy. "Do you want to join my team?" Ning Shu asked. "What team are you in?" As Ning Shu spoke, she picked up the trash next to her and stuffed it into her pocket. It would feel good to throw it at people with more. Ning Shu's heart was filled with dread. You simply couldn't tell what a person like him was thinking in his heart. According to the thinking of ordinary people, they definitely wouldn't be able to guess. The man said, "I've dedicated my life to destroying the organization." Ning Shu was speechless. What kind of person was this? Did the organization get a lunatic? Ning Shu asked. Why? What did the organization do to you? The man looked depressed. Do you know? This feeling is like a toy. It's very old, but you have to keep playing with it. You can't break it, you can't throw it away. You have to keep playing with it. It's like not letting a woman buy a new lipstick. She keeps using the same lipstick and the same color. Do you understand that kind of irritable feeling? Ning Shu was speechless. He silently took 2 steps back and did not want to talk to a lunatic. I'm so bored. I have to pick up trash every day. If everyone is bored, why not destroy it? Therefore, this person didn't spend any effort to deal with her. It was just a spur-of-the-moment decision. Just like a demon, it seduced the desires in people's hearts. Ning Shu laughed coldly. If you're really that bored, you can jump into the pool of life and reincarnate. He didn't dare to give up on his strength, but he also found it boring. The man sighed. I like new things, but that doesn't mean I like the ignorant and stupid new me. This was a fucking double standard. For such people, the organization would kill them if they deserved it. If they really couldn't, they would enslave them until they died. Ning Shu's face was cold. Shouldn't you apologize to me? Why are you apologizing? Didn't those people who attacked you get punished? Furthermore, you also obtained the Earth Law imprint. You didn't suffer any losses. Ning Shu really wanted to spit. What did he mean by no losses? 3/4 of her soul power was gone, and the organization didn't even purify the soul fluid and soul stones. They picked up 1,000,000 fragments each time. This was called no losses? You can't be too serious. When Ning Shu heard this, he directly threw a bag at him. I'm just that serious. How could he be in a good mood when he was targeted for no reason and this kind of thing happened for no reason? Don't be too serious. The man avoided Ning Shu's attack, shook his head and asked, Is it fun? Ning Shu's mouth twitched, his face full of hostility. Has anyone ever told you that you're sick? Yes, I think they're more sick. Hee hee. Ning Shu was so angry that he laughed. Do you really want to kill me now? The man asked. Sure, come and kill me. If you kill me, it's my loss. Ning Shu was speechless. Oh my God, I don't want to talk. I don't want to see this kind of person. This was the first time he saw such a righteous and unscrupulous person. Ning Shu measured his combat power and felt that he probably couldn't beat him. And this kind of old pervert who had lived for a long time, he didn't know how many trump cards he had. He clearly did such a thing, but the organization didn't punish him. Obviously, he had a lot of trump cards. Even if Ning Shu warned himself in his heart that everyone's worldview was different, he shouldn't try to change others. Of course, others shouldn't try to change her. But this person's worldview still made Ning Shu's eggs break. Was this what it was like to live for a long time? Bored and unwilling to die, he secretly played tricks. He wanted the organization to collapse, but he didn't have the ability to push down the high wall of the organization. He would cause trouble when he had nothing to do. Ning Shu, she probably provoked this kind of person because she was against the water. Ning Shu didn't want to say a word more. It was a waste of saliva to say more. Only when he was stronger than now, he could press him to the ground and torture him. He didn't see him as an equal. It was like putting 2 crickets together and letting the 2 sides fight. No matter who won or lost, he could watch it happily. Ning Shu carried the bag and left directly. The man also carried the bag and followed Ning Shu. Speaking of this design, I also suffered a little. I was caught. Ning Shu, hee hee, how could the organization not know what kind of person you are? This guy was probably on the organization's dangerous person list. Sir, please don't follow me. I feel cold. Ning Shu carried the bag and ran away, picking up the trash quickly. The man sighed. The younger generation couldn't understand his good intentions. The man walked to the side of the Grand Elder and looked at Ning Shu, who was picking up the trash. He said sadly, You know me. When I see such a silly child, I can't help but feel distressed. Get lost. The Grand Elder kicked him away. Do you still want to have your soul sucked? This time, even your soul source was sucked. The Grand Elder's face was cold. Tanlang, put away your little thoughts. Otherwise, AI, I know. You want to kill me, right? Actually, I'm not afraid of death. You know what kind of person I am. I don't know. Get lost. Tan Lang, selfish, greedy, ruthless, realistic, good and bad. Obviously, this Tan Lang was very bad. Tan Lang looked helpless. You guys are really sick. Seriously sick. Get lost. Tan Lang carried the bag and picked up the debris along the way. Ning Shu walked over. Ning Shu saw the old pervert coming over from the corner of his eye. He immediately quickened his pace. He didn't want to have any interaction with this kind of person. It was definitely not a good thing to be targeted by him. Yeah, I'm going to fight with you. Ning Shu turned back and rushed toward him with the bag. There should be a limit to playing with people. Otherwise, when I go crazy, even I'm afraid of myself. When the old pervert saw Ning Shu rushing toward him, he immediately quickened his pace. Chapter 2789. Ning Shu and Tan Lang rushed towards each other with bags in their hands. When they were about to get close to each other, they picked up their bags and threw them at each other's faces. With a bang, both of them were hit by each other's bags. Their heads were tilted back and they took a few steps back. If it was a physical body, the two of them would definitely have a nosebleed. Look, our thoughts are in sync. We can be good friends. Join the organization. Tan Lang said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu rubbed her nose. She didn't want her little nose to flatten. What organization? Ning Shu asked. Tan Lang said, of course it's a team formed to overthrow this rotten organization. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, there's a judge beside you, and you're saying that you want to overthrow this rotten organization? Ning Shu felt that if it were her, she would turn this guy into a pile of rotten bones first. Ning Shu asked in a low voice, how many people are in your organization? Tan Lang also said in a low voice, if you join, I'll tell you the strength of the organization. Ning Shu shook her head without thinking. She picked up the trash and said, I'm weak. I can't do it, so don't come to me. She still wanted to live a little longer. This guy could do some bad things secretly, but she couldn't. If this continued, she might be destroyed. This time she was almost destroyed. If this continued, nothing in the world could save her. Therefore, Ning Shu rejected him directly. Moreover, she held grudges. This guy had schemed against her not long ago, and now he wanted to pull her into his team. He looked at her as if he had high hopes for her. Young girl, destroy the world with him. She didn't want to say that he was crazy. This kind of person had lived for too long and was too bored. Working was boring. Everything was boring. Therefore, she set a great and difficult task for herself, which was to overthrow the rotten organization. Why not? I think we should be on the same wavelength. Also, I don't mind that you're weak. Although you're a small drop of water, once you merge into the sea, you'll cause a storm one day. You have to believe in yourself. Tan Lang advised Ning Shu. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, don't feed me rotten chicken soup and stir up a storm. At that time, he would definitely be sold out by this guy and die a horrible death. After living for so long, he was definitely an expert at taking advantage of loopholes. As long as he was familiar with the organization's operations, he wouldn't cross the bottom line. Even if he were to be punished, it wouldn't matter. She was different. She was of little value now, the kind that was tasteless but a pity to throw away. If she really angered someone, she wouldn't even know how she died. It would be fine if he was directly obliterated, but if he was given something like a wax whip, he would be punished for 10,000 years. That would be painful. Judging from the matter of the law incarnation this time, this guy was definitely smiling on the surface but stabbing him in the back. Now, those law incarnations were crying their eyes out. They had lost 100 years' worth of taxes. Where was the promised reward? The reward was gone too. Because they didn't know who to ask for the reward, those people didn't even know that there was such a person behind them. He was just toying with her. Playing with this kind of person would make people cry for their mother. I'm sorry, but I definitely won't join such an illegal organization. I want to devote all my youth to the organization, love the organization, and support the organization. Ning Shu cursed crazily in his heart and firmly rejected the olive branch that the old pervert handed over. Was it easy for her to reach this step? There are so many people here. Why are you looking for me? I should be the weakest here, right? Ning Shu couldn't help but say. No matter who you look for, just don't look for me. I've looked for them, but they're all boring. Some of them are too lazy to move, and some of them are either making pastries or knitting sweaters. What I want are hot-blooded, motivated, and driven children. You know, my heart aches for this kind of child the most. Every time I see you, my heart aches. What a pitiful child. Ning Shu was speechless. If you're sick, take medicine. Don't give up on treatment. Heartaches? Ning Shu felt like he was in a mess. What did the organization do to you? Do you have to overthrow the organization? Ning Shu glanced at the army that was on standby and the grand uncle who was handling the star stones. Seeing so many people guarding the plane, Ning Shu suddenly felt very complicated when he suddenly saw a person who wanted to overthrow the organization. He felt that it was normal. Not everyone was willing to do this kind of thing. The organization didn't kill this guy. The organization was also quite interesting. Tan Lang, nothing. They just enslave me and make me work every day. I want to pursue freedom. This rotten organization is hopeless. Aren't you afraid that the organization will destroy you? Ning Shu asked while picking up the trash, chatting, and working with both hands. Why would they destroy me? They lack people to work and want to enslave people. The organization must think that I can't make any waves. Every time something happens, they treat me like a donkey and whip me. Poor child. Come with me to get rid of this slavery and overthrow this rotten and disgusting organization. Ning Shu was speechless. You can't make any waves. It seems that you still have some idea in your heart. The organization knew this guy well, and this guy also knew the organization well. Those who entered this guy's team were unlucky. Once something happened, they would be wiped out. They were pitiful people who had nothing to rely on. To a certain extent, this guy was consuming the internal strength of the organization. He should be allowed to pick up trash until he died. This kind of person was too bored, empty, and cold. He had to find something to do, so he set a goal for himself to fight for and overthrow the rotten organization. But if the organization was destroyed, this guy would definitely fall into a new round of boredom and loneliness. He would be at a loss. He was like a rebellious child who ran away from home. It would be better if he worked more. Damn it. How did she provoke this kind of person? She had a lot of things to do every day and didn't have the time to deal with this kind of person. A million fragments were waiting for her to pick up. And he was completely unreasonable, the kind that couldn't be reasoned with. No, I refuse. Come on, poor child. No, I won't. Don't you want to overthrow the rotten organization and breathe fresh air? No, I like to breathe turbid air. Soul breath hair. Tan Lang shook his head in disappointment. Poor thing, why are you so unmotivated? You can't wake up the sleeping person. Shouldn't you wake up? Wake up the soul of freedom and fight for freedom. Ning Shu was speechless. You schemed against me before. I won't play with people who schemed against me. Vengeful mode. How can this be called scheming? Risk and opportunity are equal. Didn't you get the imprint of the law of Earth? Your strength should be stronger. Actually, I'm also helping Tai Shu. Those law incarnations take so much tax that the organization is so poor that they can't even eat. Chapter 2790. Occasionally, they have to rely on people like us to donate. Those law incarnations have nothing to do with the money, so they can be restrained a little. But he doesn't understand my painstaking efforts. Kick me. Ning Shu was speechless. She was dumbfounded. She was completely convinced. She had never seen such a troublemaker so self-righteous. This person was definitely a big trouble. He was shameless. Ning Shu shrunk her chest and lowered her presence. She picked up the bag and turned to leave. She didn't want to talk nonsense with him anymore. No matter how much she said, it didn't make sense. She had already rejected him countless times. Her mouth was blistering, but the other party just couldn't hear her. She could press him to the ground and ravage him now. Obviously, she couldn't do it. She had to think about the consequences of fighting here. The old pervert wasn't afraid, but she couldn't ignore it. She had just caused trouble not long ago, and now she was causing trouble again. He would definitely shoot her. Why was she being targeted just because she was picking up trash? Why did he have to pull her into a pyramid scheme? This guy had a way with words. This matter was clearly his scheme, but he could still say that letting her get the Earth Law imprint was for the sake of the organization. If she didn't pay attention, she would be led into a ditch. Stay away from such a poisonous person. Ning Shu lowered her head and quickly picked up the trash, far away from him. Tan Lang caught up with Ning Shu. I have already planned the path we will take in the future. We will definitely be able to overthrow the rotten organization. What do you mean by, we? I don't want to join your organization. Was it okay to make decisions without permission? We are still in the startup stage. We need a motivated child like you. You are being enslaved by the granduncle. Pitiful, pitiful child. Ning Shu was speechless. He looked like an unscrupulous boss. He talked about ideals and feelings, but not about money. Ning Shu ignored him and lowered her head to pick up the debris. Tan Lang kept chattering beside her, but Ning Shu pretended not to hear him. She was like a dog skin plaster that couldn't be shaken off. He couldn't pay attention to her. The more he did, the more energetic she became. Ning Shu tried his best to focus on picking up the trash. Tan Lang was talking beside him. Ning Shu didn't say a word. He picked up the full bag, tied it up, and put it aside. Then he picked up another bag and continued to pick up. 50 bags was not a small number. Listening to Tan Lang's words, he also learned a lot of information, and it was information about the organization. For example, Tan Lang scolded the main system for being a sanctimonious hypocrite who put on airs and was more black-hearted than anyone else. He scolded the grand-uncle for being a fool again. Ning Shu looked at the grand-uncle who was handling the star stones. Ning Shu scolded An He for being a perverted man with a twisted aesthetic. Ning Shu looked at An He in his military uniform. Her eldest uncle was a pervert who had a twisted love affair with the dolls he had made. When an abyssal prefect eats a soul, the shit that comes out of it is in the shape of a human. Ning Shu. How could the words coming out of this person's mouth be so twisted? You're a pervert too, okay? Ning Shu looked up and cried. Mom, the people here are so scary. Her eldest uncle clearly gave her the impression that he was a gentle person who would smile whenever he had nothing to do. Now, her previous impression had completely collapsed. As soon as she saw the abyssal prefect, she wondered if his shit was in the shape of a human. Do you think these people are sick? Tan Lang asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu, you're all sick. Get lost. Ning Shu dragged the bag and ran quickly. Tan Lang chased after him. Ning Shu almost cried. Ning Shu ran to the grand-uncle and said to him, He scolded you for being a fool. When Tan Lang heard this, he immediately stopped and looked at Ning Shu helplessly. Poor child. Don't be with these sick people. You'll become like them too. The grand-uncle looked at Tan Lang. You're having a good time. Tan Lang stared at the grand-uncle bitterly. What do you want me to do to satisfy you? I've been picking up trash for a long time. How long do I have to pick it up? The grand-uncle was expressionless. If you don't want to pick up trash, go blow the wind or light a candle. Tan Lang dragged the bag and walked away. He looked back at Ning Shu and moved his lips. I'll wait for you over there. You have to come over. Ning Shu mouthed, I'm not going. After Tan Lang left, the grand-uncle said coldly, Don't mix with him. This person has a problem with his brain. There was definitely no problem with his brain, but there was a problem with his cognition. No, there was a big problem. Ning Shu nodded. Yes, he always said you were a fool. The grand-uncle glanced at her. Ning Shu shut her mouth and turned to pick up the trash. When it was time to connect the planes, Ning Shu took the star stone liquid. Since he was here to pick up trash, it would be unreasonable if he didn't get some benefits. Tan Lang appeared behind Ning Shu and said faintly, If you need this, you should have said so earlier. I'll get it for you. Ning Shu shuddered. I don't need it. I just think it's shiny and beautiful. I'm going to take it back and paint it on the walls of my system space. Damn, this person was tirelessly trying to pull her into the pyramid scheme organization. If she accepted his things, it would mean that she had joined the organization. She didn't have time to deal with this guy. She had a lot of things to do. She was tight on time, but she didn't feel bored. Tan Lang glanced at the granduncle. Ning Shu asked, "Did he tell you not to contact me?" "He said there was something wrong with my brain." Ning Shu was speechless. "I knew he would slander me like this. He's the one who's sick." Ning Shu was speechless. She didn't want to talk. It was none of her business if any of them were sick. She still had so much trash to pick up. Ning Shu took a long time to pick up 1,000,000, and Tan Lang followed behind her like a tail. Ning Shu wanted to die. She was already tired from picking up trash, but she still had to follow a person who kept chattering and trying to brainwash her. Ning Shu ran to the granduncle's side and asked, "Do you have extra star stones this time?" Ning Shu just came to ask and hide from Tan Lang. Ning Shu found that although this man despised the granduncle and scolded him, he was actually quite afraid of him. He basically didn't get close to the granduncle. Damn, he couldn't even stay calm while picking up trash. 1,000,000 was already annoying, but now he met someone who was even more annoying. While picking up the trash, he either ran to talk to the Grand Elder or He. Tan Lang also wouldn't get close to He, especially when he saw the huge number of troops. His eyes were full of fear. Ning Shu pounded the ground and cried. She really wanted to kill him, but she didn't know what the consequences would be if they fought here. The other big shots who picked up trash ignored Tan Lang, which meant that Tan Lang didn't have good relationships in the organization. They probably knew what kind of person Tan Lang was. What made Ning Shu angry the most was that this guy caught her and insisted on making her his underling. "I won't do it." Chapter 2791. This was especially so when the people picking up the trash in the surroundings changed wave after wave, and new people came and went. But the people behind him never changed. Tan Lang asked Ning Shu, "Why are you taking so long? 100,000 is more than enough." "Who gave this to him?" Ning Shu asked. "Why don't you leave?" Tan Lang rolled his eyes. "I'm going to keep picking them up until Grand Uncle is satisfied." "Serves him right, serves him right. What about you? How long have you been picking up?" Ning Shu, 1,000,000. Poor child. Grand Uncle has been enslaving us like this. Do you want to breathe the air of freedom? Ning Shu, go away. You're seriously affecting me picking up the trash. When Ning Shu picked up 25 bags of trash, she felt a little tired, but not very tired. And there were countless planes that had collapsed. Ning Shu felt that dealing with these collapsed planes was the most important thing. As for doing missions, he felt that the world could be saved so that it wouldn't collapse. There were billions of planes. Just like humans, there were people dying every day for various reasons. Planes collapsed every moment. Picking up debris would make him vomit. Ning Shu just wanted to pick up 1,000,000 quickly and leave quickly to get rid of greed. He probably couldn't beat him now. He had to endure it. When he couldn't bear it anymore, he didn't have to. When he could beat him, why would he endure it? He really wanted to push him into the reincarnation pool, but Grand Uncle was here. Greed had to worry about Grand Uncle when doing bad things. Ning Shu had to worry about Grand Uncle when doing bad things. Everyone who wanted to cause trouble had to worry about Grand Uncle. Ning Shu tied up the bag and sat down to massage his shoulders. What should he do with such a weak soul? She probably had the weakest soul here, but she picked up the most trash. A warm current flowed out from between his eyebrows and flowed all over his body. He felt less tired, but he couldn't help but want to be distracted. Ning Shu leaned against the bag and prepared to rest for a while. Anyway, as long as he picked up 1,000,000, there was no time limit. He could rest. Was your soul power sucked away? Your soul seems to be much weaker than last time. Ning Shu turned his back to Tan Lang. This was the first time he realized that a man could be so long-winded. It could be said that he was a weirdo. Could he give her some peace and quiet? Are you still not going to give up? Ning Shu turned around and asked, "Do you really not have any other underlings? Why do you have to hold on to me? I don't want to breathe the air of freedom right now." Her survival was a problem now. Freedom and whatnot could wait until she became stronger. If they were really duped, they would definitely become cannon fodder. The judge would never show mercy when he killed someone. She was afraid. Greed said, "Of course, I have many underlings." 7 kills, Army Destroyer, Tianfu, Tang, Tin, Tianji, Tang. Tan Lang counted with his fingers as he told Ning Shu. Ning Shu just chuckled and didn't say anything. Your soul is so weak. Have you never thought of getting some soul power to strengthen your soul? Ning Shu said, I actually have a lot of resources. I also have a lot of soul power. Ning Shu covered his ears. I won't listen, I won't listen, I won't listen, I won't listen. Now he was tempting him. Thinking about those law incarnations that had been duped, there were bloody examples. Ning Shu got up and ran over, asking Granduncle, do you have extra star stones this time? Granduncle, take 2 too. It wasn't easy. Finally, there were extra. Ning Shu picked up 2 and wanted to pick up 2 more. Only 2. Don't even think about taking the rest. Ning Shu put down the star stones in his hand. Although there weren't many, there were at least 2. Ning Shu took the bag and began to pick up the trash. Tan Lang was still tirelessly following behind him. Ning Shu couldn't take it anymore. Tell me, what's your purpose? There was a limit to teasing people. Tan Lang, poor child. Actually, I like poor and honest children. Ning Shu. He took a deep breath and ignored him. Ning Shu simply blocked his hearing. He couldn't hear anything and focused on picking up the trash. Ning Shu shook his arm. If he kept picking up like this, even his soul would feel pain in his arm. How long would it take to pick things up with his hands? It would be great if the vines could pick them up, but the vines didn't have the ability to pick them up. She could pick them up because of the big diamond on her forehead. But picking up the pieces one by one was really tiring. Thinking about how there were still so many pieces left to collect. She was even more desperate. Helpless, weak, pitiful. Ning Shu touched the big diamond on her forehead. Was there any way to make the vines pick up the trash? It was like controlling the vines to destroy the city. Controlling the vines to pick up the trash? The vines could be spread everywhere, equivalent to 1,000 hands. It was fast and not tiring. Ning Shu stretched out the vines and controlled them to pick up the debris. The vines wrapped around the debris, but the floating debris didn't move at all. Sure enough, she couldn't pick up the debris. Ning Shu really felt tired. Ning Shu was really too tired. He had to think of a way to make himself more relaxed. After picking up the debris, she still had to do other things. But just picking up the trash made her so tired that she wanted to vomit. How could she comprehend the space law and do missions? Especially since the main system no longer purified soul fluid and soul stones. If she wanted to obtain soul power, she could only do missions. Otherwise, her soul would always be so weak. Tired. This kind of ordinary law can't pick up the debris. Otherwise, I would have dragged those idle law incarnations to pick up the debris. Tan Lang shook his head. Tired, right? If you join the organization, I'll get someone to help you pick up the debris. Ning Shu squinted. Why don't you find someone yourself? The judge has been watching me and insisted that I pick up the debris here. I want to find someone, but it's useless. Ning Shu snorted. What organization? She had been schemed against even if she didn't join the pyramid scheme. If she joined, she didn't know how she would die. Was there no simple way to do it? She had to rely on her hands to pick up the debris. It cost 5 million every time. If she continued like this, she would be crippled. The vines were the most likely, but it was just an ordinary law of wood. It was nothing to pick up debris. There were already big shots leaving one after another, and big shots coming one after another. Before leaving, she had to find someone to take over and then leave. She still had more than 20 bags to pick up. The people around her came and went. Only she remained at the front line of picking up trash. Oh, and Tan Lang beside her. It made the life of picking up trash even more miserable. Ning Shu thought about it. Since the law of life could pick up trash, he would let the vines absorb the law of life. He condensed a drop of milky white liquid on his fingertip and dripped it on the law of wood mark. It was clearly dripping on the skin, but the liquid was absorbed by the skin. In other words, it was absorbed by the law of wood mark. Chapter 2792. I don't know if this will work. Ning Shu stretched out her vines again and wrapped them around the fragment. When she exerted force again, she could actually move the fragment. Really? Ning Shu was pleasantly surprised. She dripped several drops of milky white liquid on the law imprint. The leaves of the law of wood became even greener. Ning Shu opened the bag and used her mental strength to control the vines and let the vines throw the fragments into the bag. Slowly, she succeeded. However, Ning Shu was very excited. Although the speed was slow now, once she got used to it, the overwhelming vines could stretch out and pick up a lot of fragments. However, this consumed a lot of mental strength, especially when controlling the overwhelming vines, which required more vines. This was to let the vines do delicate work, which required full concentration and attention to the details. It was not to let the vines destroy violently, like destroying a city. That was very simple. Ning Shu simply opened the bag and let the vines wrap around the fragments and throw them into the bag. She only needed to use her mental strength to control it. However, the law of wood required a lot of energy during this period. Once she could not move the fragments, she would need to add energy to the law of wood. Ning Shu stretched out a few more vines. The vines stretched out in all directions, picked up the fragments around, wrapped them around them, and then retracted and put the fragments into the bag. Ning Shu only needed to open the bag with both hands and wait for the vines to throw the fragments in. A new era of garbage picking was opened. She could pick up 1,000,000 fragments just by sitting down and not be so tired. However, Ning Shu's mental strength was very weak now. After picking for a while, her mental strength was a little exhausted. Her vision turned black as if her body had been hollowed out. Even so, Ning Shu was very happy. As long as she increased her mental strength, the stronger her mental strength, the more vines she could control, and the faster she could pick up garbage. 1,000,000 fragments was a small number and could be done. Ning Shu felt dizzy. She sat down and rubbed her forehead. How could she make her spiritual power stronger without using the method of self-abuse to stimulate the spiritual ball? Greed's eyes flashed as he sat beside Ning Shu. Your mental strength is really weak. I have a way to strengthen your mental strength. Do you want to know? Ning Shu, no. Sigh, poor child. Greed sighed. My training method is very simple. Ning Shu blocked his hearing and closed his eyes to rest. His consciousness sank into his consciousness and saw the floating spiritual ball. The spiritual ball was still the size of a ping-pong ball. He had tortured himself a few times to stimulate the spiritual ball, but why didn't it grow bigger? At this time, the limitation of his weak mental strength showed itself. It was not enough to construct a spatial tunnel. Now, even controlling the vines to pick up the fragments had become very difficult. It was easy to destroy an ordinary house with vines, but to pick up a piece of debris, it required a lot of mental strength. As for the cultivation method that Greed mentioned, although Ning Shu was curious, he didn't want it. Besides, she was going to press him to the ground and rub him against the ground in the future. If she accepted his things now, she would have to bear the reputation of being ungrateful when she dealt with him later. If she didn't accept anything, there would be no psychological burden to pick it up. After discovering the method, Ning Shu was very happy. In the future, he wouldn't have to pick up the fragments with his hands. He could just sit still and control the vines. It was simply awesome. With 1,000,000 fragments each time, he might be able to complete it quickly. Increase his mental strength, increase it. Ning Shu looked at the spiritual ball timidly and carefully stimulated it. Suddenly, his head hurt as if it was hit by a hammer. There was a tearing pain in his soul. Ning Shu couldn't help but hold his head. It hurts. It hurts. However, there was only one way to cultivate mental strength in the system shop. Poor child. Don't tell me you're cultivating that secret manual in the system shop. That's the theory. It makes sense, but the actual effect is not very good. Oh, that secret manual was made up by me to deceive people. I thought no one would buy it. I didn't expect someone to buy it. Tan Lang shrugged his shoulders. Facing Ning Shu's murderous eyes, he said, "It makes sense in theory. After all, there are people who rely on self-abuse to strengthen their mental strength. and the mental strength cultivated this way is more resilient, and the spiritual ball will also become more resilient. If it's a mental attack, the spiritual ball cultivated by self-abuse will be obviously more resilient. Of course, the premise is that you don't abuse yourself. Ning Shu gritted his teeth. Can you shut up? There was a fly buzzing in his ear. Join the organization that pursues freedom, and I'll give you an improved version of the secret manual. You don't have to suffer so much self-abuse. The effect will be doubled. How about that? Ning Shu blinked his eyes. Ning Shu really wanted to slap him, whip him, and oil him. It wouldn't be enough to vent his anger. Tan Lang had an indescribable feeling. Bitch, I already said that I won't follow you. Do you think you're being polite to me? Ning Shu took the bag and left. In order to prevent him from following him, Ning Shu went directly to An He, who was closest to him. Fragrant Wind Man said, "What are you doing? Why are you running to me?" "I was pestered by someone, so I came here to hide." Ning Shu raised his chin in Tan Lang's direction. And he glanced at Tan Lang. "Why are you with him? He's a deadbeat. Don't hang out with him. Don't be influenced by him." "Okay. He said that you're a pervert with a twisted aesthetic." "What?" And his eyes widened. "That deadbeat actually said that my aesthetic is twisted. His is the twisted one." Fragrant Wind Man sneered at Tan Lang. "Come here. If you have the guts, say it to me." Sigh. Tan Lang walked over and patted the dust on An He's shoulder. "You're so dirty. Pay attention to your image." And he was expressionless. "Do you believe that I'll chop off your hand?" Tan Lang said to Ning Shu, "Did he say that I'm a deadbeat?" "He said that I'm an unbearable person." Actually, think about it. These people are really ignorant. They think that everything they do is right and great. They all look at me as a joke. They think that the organization is so huge that no one can overthrow it. They don't resist. Instead, they laugh at me. Who do you think is more insensitive? A group of insensitive people. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, this guy was obsessed with brainwashing him. And he chuckled. "Don't talk so much. Don't talk so much. Pick up more trash. It seems that senior uncle's punishment for you is still too light." Tan Lang said, "Even if you punish me for picking up trash, I'll still say the same thing." "Then go pick it up. When you pick it up, think about how to overthrow the organization. Think clearly." And he waved his hand impatiently. Obviously, he didn't want to say anything more to Tan Lang. Ning Shu waved. "Come here. I have something to tell you. It's a secret." Chapter 2793. Looking at Tan Lang's despicable expression, this guy had too many tricks up his sleeve. Ning Shu, she didn't want to know any secrets. Ning Shu was really impressed. She knelt down to the big boss. What was the meaning of this? Why aren't you going to pick them up? And he glanced at Tan Lang. Tan Lang was afraid of An He and looked back at Ning Shu from time to time. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Why was he looking at her? She definitely wouldn't look for Tan Lang. Even if Tan Lang had some shocking secret, she didn't want to hear it. It seemed that all the big bosses knew that Tan Lang wanted to overthrow the organization. However, no one took his words to heart. It was as if they were watching a joke. It was too boring. It was good to have a joke to watch. They could even use this matter to tease him. Why did Ning Shu feel so strange? He felt that this guy was jumping up and down, but the organization didn't take it to heart. They let him do work when he had nothing to do. It was better to cause trouble and have more reasons to pull him in. Tan Lang was resentful and afraid of the organization. After Tan Lang left, Ning Shu sat on the ground and fanned himself with his sleeves. His mental strength was exhausted and he felt especially uncomfortable. Tan Lang wouldn't come over and talk to her only when she was beside someone he was afraid of. She was really annoyed, and it wasn't just a little annoyed. She was targeted for no reason and was forced to be his lackey. Ning Shu didn't want to be someone else's lackey and be ordered around by others. She worked hard to be strong so that she could control her own destiny and not be erased. She didn't want to run errands for others, do things for others, and run errands for others' plans and schemes. And once something happened, The first to die would be a small fry like her. Ning Shu condensed 2 drops of milky white liquid and dripped it on the wood law imprint. He had already found a new method, but because of his lack of mental strength, he couldn't keep practicing. Ning Shu glanced at an he, who looked slender and tall because of his military uniform. He put his hands behind his back and looked around. General and he, I have something to ask you. Ning Shu's tone was especially gentle as he was asking for help. He addressed the fragrant wind man as General and he looked down at Ning Shu. What's the matter? How did you guys cultivate your mental strength? Ning Shu didn't expect that the secret manual he cultivated was actually created by greed. At that time, she had wondered who had come up with the idea of taking revenge on society. In the end, it was greed. Stimulating the mental sphere in such a way would definitely cause one's mental state to collapse. Moreover, greed had created this secret manual based on a theory. He didn't cultivate it at all. What a scourge. They even said that some people relied on this kind of self-torture method to cultivate powerful secret manuals. Ning Shu didn't believe it. Even if one managed to cultivate it, that kind of pain was enough to leave a deep shadow in one's heart. Ning Shu wasn't afraid of sweating and suffering, but he felt that he couldn't cultivate so painfully. She had been through so many painful days that she didn't want to be in pain anymore. To cultivate your mental strength, you first have to expand your sea of consciousness, then expand your mental sphere, Fragrant Wind said. She understood the principle, but how could she expand her sea of consciousness and her mental sphere? She knew the theoretical knowledge, but what about the specific methods? Ning Shu coughed and asked, Then how do I cultivate? You didn't cultivate your mental strength? Ning Shu, she didn't have a secret manual for cultivating her mental strength. How could she cultivate her mental strength? If her mental strength hadn't reached a bottleneck, Ning Shu wouldn't have the consciousness and awareness to cultivate a secret manual at all. Well, it's both simple and complicated at the same time. Ning Shu, how complicated? If the sea of consciousness is a container, then mental strength is water. The bigger the container, the more mental strength it can hold. You have to cultivate your mental strength and expand your sea of consciousness. Well, how do you expand it? Ning Shu asked with a smile. Well, this depends on perception. There's really no way to teach it, so you have to rely on yourself. Ning Shu. Then how do you expand your mental sphere? It still depends on perception, but you can use a secret manual created by Greedy Wolf to stimulate your mental sphere. Of course, if you want to advance by leaps and bounds, you still have to rely on perception. Ning Shu. Therefore, although she knew the process, she still didn't have a specific way to do it. However, she figured out that to cultivate mental strength, she first had to expand her sea of consciousness. Stimulating the mental sphere alone was useless. The container was too small. Even if more mental strength was stimulated, the container couldn't hold it and it would only dissipate. It couldn't be stored at all. Therefore, this secret manual was really deceptive. It only said to stimulate the mental sphere, but it didn't say the cultivation steps. Sigh, she was so conflicted. Ning Shu stretched out her vines. A few vines stretched toward the place where the shards were. The vines wrapped around the shards and dragged them to Ning Shu's side. Ning Shu reached out and picked up the shards. She didn't have to run around and control the vines to pick up the trash. And he raised his eyebrows. Your operation is quite impressive. Isn't it an ordinary law? How can you pick up the shards? Ning Shu just said, I have my way. It's just that my mental strength isn't enough. I can't control many vines. If her mental strength was enough, she could stretch out many vines and pick up many shards at the same time. Ning Shu really hoped that she could become a tentacle monster. 1,000,000 shards were picked up very quickly. Ning Shu imagined the scene. Vines blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Oh my, I'm so excited. It was just that her mental strength wasn't enough to control so many vines. Although it depended on perception, how could she do that? How could she make her sea of consciousness bigger? How could she make the mental sphere bigger? In short, she was blind. What Ning Shu was most afraid of now was perceiving this thing. This reminded her of the space law. She hadn't comprehended anything by perceiving it until now. If it was easy to perceive, she would gain something very quickly. However, when it came to the space law, Ning Shu was beaten to a pulp. But what could she do? She had to continue perceiving it. Ning Shu was very worried that she would still be like this when she was perceiving the mental strength in her sea of consciousness. If she was perceiving it too slowly, it would seriously affect her speed of picking up the trash. 1 million. It wasn't just once, but every time she came to pick up the trash, it would be 1 million. This was simply killing her. Fragrant wind narrowed his eyes. Outsiders can't help with perceiving this kind of thing. Ning Shu grinned, a little depressed, and threw the shards pulled by the vines into the bag. Ning Shu's actions attracted a lot of attention. This was really a tentacle monster. They were all picking up the trash with 2 hands, but she had several hands. And she could develop many hands in the future. It didn't matter if everyone used their hands to pick up the trash, but some people were now sitting down to pick up the trash. They felt so tired and miserable. Tan Lang stood not far away and kept waving at Ning Shu. Chapter 2794. Ning Shu lowered her head and put her hand on her forehead, pretending not to see Greed. Greed was really looking for a sense of existence all the time. It was so lively that it was annoying. Ning Shu just wanted to stay away from this guy. As long as he didn't bother her, it would be fine. However, they were both permanent members of the garbage collection team. When they were collecting garbage, they would see each other most of the time. She had 1 million, but Greed had to keep collecting until Tai Shu was satisfied. The standard of satisfaction was really deceptive. Even if he was satisfied, he would still have to pick up more if he said he wasn't satisfied. Greed's heart was probably about to explode, but he could only endure it. Then he secretly comforted himself and encouraged himself. She wanted to overthrow the rotten organization and breathe the fresh air of freedom. No matter what this guy did, she just wanted to pick up garbage peacefully. She didn't want to overthrow the organization. At least, that wasn't what she should be thinking about now. Ning Shu couldn't avoid Greed. When her mental strength was cultivated, she would be able to leave quickly every time the overwhelming vines picked up debris. She didn't believe that Greed would scheme against her all the time. If he really pissed her off, she would definitely turn hostile. Ning Shu controlled and trained the vines. If her mental strength was exhausted, she would rest for a while. When her mental strength recovered a little, she would start picking up garbage again. Although she didn't control many vines now, the speed of picking up garbage was still much faster than picking up pieces by hand. In order to be lazy, her brain worked faster than usual. As expected, laziness was the driving force of human development. In order to be lazy and live a better life, humans learned to use tools and save physical strength. In order to be lazy, they built machines. Some time-consuming and labor-consuming tasks were handed over to machines. It was easy and efficient. It was simply awesome. If it wasn't for the fact that picking up 1 million was too tiring, Ning Shu wouldn't have thought of changing and wanted to make herself more relaxed. Even if she used the vines, the time would probably be pushed back. As long as she raised her mental strength, the speed of picking up garbage would be even faster. Come here. Ning Shu waved his hand. Ning Shu was originally sitting. When she saw Tai Shu's actions, she pretended not to see and turned her body. In any case, nothing good would come out of looking for her. Good things would never happen to her. And he nudged Ning Shu with the tip of his military boot. She's calling you. Don't pretend you didn't see her. You're so pretentious. Ning Shu, could it be that she had been too obvious? She should be more subtle next time. He couldn't express his displeasure too directly. Ning Shu stood up and walked towards the Grand Elder. He asked, "Is there anything I can do for you? Do you have extra star stones?" "No, how many vines can you control?" Grand Elder asked. "Damn," Ning Shu said calmly, "at most a few. I can't control more. I can't even pick up 1 million shards. Don't even think about giving her more. She couldn't do it. It's the law of wood to begin with. Why can't you control more vines? Is it because you don't have enough spiritual power or a lack of life source?" Grand Elder asked. Ning Shu. It's not enough. I'm only controlling a few vines now. I feel like I'm dying. I can't live anymore. At this time, of course, she had to be cowardly. She couldn't show off too much. The task given by the leaders was just to talk. She had to overwork herself. You don't have enough spiritual power. When the task is completed, go to Sang Liang and get the secret manual. Ning Shu stared at the Grand Elder's reflective glasses and froze for a moment. He gave her the secret manual to help her strengthen her spiritual power so that she could control more vines to pick up garbage in the future. If she accepted it now, she would be enslaved to death in the future. Ning Shu just asked, "Who's Sang Liang?" A consultant in the consulting room. Ning Shu, the silver-haired man, was called Sang Liang. "When you've picked up enough, go get it," Grand Elder said. Ning Shu just said, "Oh." He was conflicted about whether to get the secret manual or not. Was it free? Or did it cost money? According to the silver-haired man's character, he definitely needed money. It would probably be a huge sum. This kind of secret manual should be hidden by an organization and wouldn't be made public. Sure enough, the things placed in the system exchange store weren't good things. They couldn't be compared to the secret stashes of an organization. The problem was that they were sold at a high price. Ning Shu suddenly felt like a son-in-law who lived in his family. It wasn't easy for him to pass the imperial examination. In the end, if he wanted to get promoted and get rich, he had to sell himself to a powerful family. The problem was that he hadn't seen his wife yet. If he gave her some resources, she would be at his beck and call in the future. Those who received charity might not be happy. Ning Shu dragged the garbage bag, walked to Enhe's side, and asked him, "If the organization wants to give me something, should I take it?" Fragrant Wind Man, "Take it. Why don't you take it? Do you think you're not a member of the organization if you refuse something? It doesn't matter who you are, but if you die, who knows if you're a member of the organization?" Ning Shu could only comfort himself in his heart. At least he had some value now. But he was very unhappy. If he didn't do his best for the organization, he would be an ingrate. The organization gave him resources, but he didn't work. What an ingrate. Forget it, he still needed to pick up a few more bags. He would go find the silver-haired man. He looked at the contents of the secret manual. After Ning Shu took a few drops of star stones, he rushed to the next place where the plane collapsed. Ning Shu walked in the space passage. When he saw Tan Lang approaching him, he immediately sped up to catch up with Senior Uncle and Enhe in front. Tan Lang stared at Ning Shu with resentful eyes, which made Ning Shu's hair stand on end. He was a grown man, yet he was looking at her with such an aggrieved expression. Ning Shu was really annoyed. He felt that Tan Lang's heart to let him join the Pyramid Scheme organization was even more determined now. Could he still pick up the garbage properly? As soon as they exited the space passage, Ning Shu stood next to Enhe. And he looked at him from the corner of his eye. "Can you not follow me? What will my soldiers think of me? What will my military uniform think of me?" "Your military uniform is a human? Damn, skin on skin. Is he really a human?" And he was speechless. Ning Shu saw his bad expression and said directly, "That Tan Lang wants me to join an illegal organization. I want to give my youth to the organization. How can I accept his invitation? But this person is so annoying. He won't come over if you and Senior Uncle are beside me. I'll use you two as a shield for the time being." And he glanced at Tan Lang, who was picking up debris and coming over. "It's really annoying. Who asked you to be so weak? Who else can I find if not you?" Ning Shu was speechless. It seemed that Tan Lang was only annoyed by her. He probably thought that she couldn't beat him and didn't dare to resist, so he caught her and brainwashed her over and over again. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He stretched out his vine and began to pick up the debris. The vine brought the debris in front of him. Ning Shu held the bag with his hand, and the debris fell into the bag one by one. It felt so good. However, after a while, his mental strength was exhausted. He had to rest for a while before picking it up again. He also had to drip a milky white liquid for the woodlaw to absorb. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.